All right. So first of all, I did not watch the Super Bowl because I don't live in America. I live in Australia. And even though it was the middle of the day, I was not interested. So tell me, Jake, top 3 commercials.
Oh, boy.
Thank you for not even asking me, by the way.
No, you're British. That. It doesn't.
I watch it. We have to
ask. You have to ask the resident American. Okay.
Yeah, I watch it for the commercials, and there was like nothing. It was dismal this year. It was like AI stuff, and then like government ads, because that's a thing we get now. Like, look how great the government is. And then there was a Mandalorian and Groglet little teaser.
Okay.
Looked like ass. And that's it. That's all I got. There was no big like Avengers trailer or Marvel thing.
Okay. Wasn't there a Nintendo ad, like a Pokemon? There was a Pokemon ad.
Good.
Oh, they got Lady Gaga to sing the Jigglypuff song. That was incredible. I like my soul. I like rose from my seat. It was incredible.
That was cute. I watched that one. That was the only one.
That was
I
nice.
saw a headline that was like, because Super Bowl ads cost on average like, $30 million for a 1-minute slot or whatever. And the budget for Pokemon ZA was like $13 million. Yeah. So they spent twice the game's budget on a 1-minute commercial.
Yep.
That's insane.
Crazy.
I believe all those numbers, by the way. I believe all of those numbers are true. Every single one I just said.
No, 100%. 100%. But otherwise, I didn't watch it. I was deep cleaning my apartment.
That sounds nice.
It was really nice, actually. When I was younger and I watched, there's a joke from Futurama that has always stuck with me. And it's when Leela leaves, I think she leaves Fry outside of Planet Express. And she goes, I'm going to go home and make and freeze all my meals for the next month. And as a child, I was like, that's so lame. And as an adult, I'm like, wow.
They were ahead of it, man.
Breakthrough.
An icon. Anyway, yeah, I spent all the day yesterday cleaning. It was
very nice.
What about you, Ralph? What did you do during what you would be watching the Super Bowl?
I was playing Cairn, but we can come back to that later on.
Interesting.
So I was completing Cairn, which is going to be a very interesting discussion, because now that I've actually completed it, because you guys had finished it earlier. You guys both finished it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I hadn't finished it, and but we'll come back to that later. So that's what I was doing, and I think Cairn is one of those few games that I've played where I actually feel like I'm not wasting my time when I'm playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually growing as a person when I play Cairn, whereas every other game I play, I feel like I'm becoming less.
Yeah.
So, but we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Oh, I got this.
Yeah.
What's that?
I got a Metal Gear Solid skateboard.
Oh my
Shut
God.
up. That looks so sick.
Yeah.
Where did you get this?
Huff. It's like a skate and clothing company. They did a blind bag. So you bought a blind bag, and then the art was either a piece of art from Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, or 3. So this is from 2. If anybody out there is listening and you got one and it's sealed and you have the one from Metal Gear Solid 1, the Shinkawa art, please DM me and I'll trade you. I'll give you this one and money. Because I want the Metal Gear Solid 1.
Make sure whoever's listening, shake him down. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Jake is a very vulnerable target right now, okay? So
if you email contact@friendspersecond.com, I monitor that inbox. I will pass it along to Jake.
That's right.
This is sealed. I haven't opened it, so you can take this. I can take Metal Gear Solid 1. We'll be happy. 2 is great. I'm not upset, but I mean, the Metal Gear Solid 1 art. Come on.
Yeah. Did you see the Elden Ring skateboards?
No, who?
They're releasing like super limited edition Elden Ring decks too.
They snap when you ride them on purpose, and it's like get better.
Yeah, that's right.
See, we got some video game stuff in there. Look, we're getting better at this video game podcast.
I was actually really bummed that Kojima pulled out of GDC.
Yes, I don't know why.
Very mysterious. Yeah, but he was going to be like doing the keynote, and all of a sudden he's just like, "Yeah, I'm not coming." No explanation given. I'm like, thanks, man. Okay.
Somebody heard you were coming, and he was like,
"Yeah, man, that's how it works."
Maybe
do you know what I have
texted him or something?
Oh, I can't. You can't see it because it's blurry. But like, you know how I got that picture with Kojima?
Yeah. You got it framed?
I got that. No, I got it printed on a display. Hashtag sponsored, by the way. But I was like, I got it printed. This is it right here. You can't see it, but it's there.
That's awesome.
And it's proudly on my wall. And I was like, because display were like, oh yeah, we do custom displays. We really want you to send us like something like a logo or something or anything. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'll think about it later. And then they just messaged me again. They're like, hey man, we still need that thing. And I'm like, And they're like, it could be anything, like maybe a favorite photo of yours. I'm like, favorite photo? Yes, I know just the one.
Your family's outside in the rain.
Actually, I feel like, hang on. I feel like, I can't get it now. It's stuck to the wall and I don't want to get up. But I'll show it to you later. But it is, I'm very happy with it. Anyway, what's happening? What episode is this? Who's hosting?
It's me. It's episode 88, I think. It is episode 88. Hi, everyone. I'm Lucy. Welcome to Friends Per Second. With me, as always, we've got Ralph.
Hello.
He's waving for audio listeners.
Mid-gulp.
And Jake.
Hello.
Guys, what's going on?
Live, frozen. It's very cold here in New York.
Yeah, what's happening? So like cold snap in New York, your pipes are freezing up and shit, like just like in the movies, like Home Alone kind of stuff. Is that you right now?
Yep, that's all of us. It's the coldest it's been in a long time here, though. Also, all the waterways are like frozen and like all like glacial. It's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you just see like big chunks of ice like going through the water and like the rivers and stuff. It's
people
cool
like
as hell.
go ice. Is there like lakes nearby that are frozen over? People go ice skating in the park or
People
something.
just kind of like go and do crime on the ice. That's really it. Like just like fuck around.
What crimes? Can you? Is there?
I literally watched a video of a guy today, like at the harbor by my house. A guy was like, "Look how cold it is." He took a brick and just like threw it at a boat, and it bounced off the boat, and then just hit the ice, and nothing happened.
Wow.
It's good stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, fair enough. Well, I have been doing my normal thing, playing video games, playing more video games than usual, actually, which has been really good. But also, we'll come to those. But also keeping track of the news. I think that the most interesting thing that I saw this week is what everyone saw this week, which is that Sony announced a new live service. Yeah. It's called Horizon Hunters Gathering, and it's a kind of Elden Ring Night Rain-esque thing with Fortnite graphics that is the primary focus of the studio right now, and that most of the dev team seems to be on it, and Horizon 3 is not close as a result. And yep, that's a thing that got announced.
I'm watching it. I haven't actually seen the trailer. I saw this.
Have you not? Oh, right.
No, I'm watching it right now. You get my
It's
live
lengthy.
reaction.
There's like a bunch of stuff.
I'm watching it on Steam, so it's a minute.
Oh, nice! You get the Spark Notes
Straight off the dome, Jake. What was your reaction?
Well, I talked about it on the Friday news show last Friday, and then here before we were recording, you referred to it as, "Oh, we got to talk about Hunter's Gathering," and I literally went, "What is that?"
He did actually.
It's weird because I saw it and immediately thought, "Oh, this is like a NetEase collaboration partnership, a like spin-off thing." And then when I saw that Guerrilla is doing it directly, I was like, oh, okay. Also, interesting how the trailer starts with the studio head saying, hey, everybody, we still are committed to single-player games. We love them.
Don't worry.
We're just not working on them right now, but we promise we're really committed to them.
Yeah, that was interesting. Very interesting. This is not for me. It doesn't look like shit. Like it looks like it might be fun and quirky. It's not my type of thing, but who knows?
It looks.
Do we know if it's going to be free?
And cheery. It's also not for me.
Is it going to be
so
free?
Crazy. Look, I highly doubt it will be free. It's not Sony's MO to do free stuff for their live service thing, right? They're pretty comfortable in that $40 price tier, and I think that you can look at other comparable experiences. Night Rain is not free. You might say Monster Hunter, sort of, that wasn't free. There are some other things. I think it's almost impossible this is free. But hey, who knows?
I think for me, it's the art style because now that I'm thinking about it, like the Horizon gameplay can lend itself to fun co-op stuff. I mean, people love playing Monster Hunter together, and we always talk about how Horizon is kind of Monster Hunter. So
yeah.
In the basic sense.
No, for sure. I mean, yeah. It's so funny because, okay, first of all, so Lucy, do you enjoy Horizon games?
No.
You don't? Okay, fair enough.
No.
That's cool.
I like some of the gameplay of Horizon. I like the feeling of, I guess, to me, Horizon sometimes feels like it kind of threw everything at the wall. I hate the way I think really realistically my main gripe comes down to I hate the way Aloy feels. I feel like she glumps around. She is not a fun character to control.
Good phrase.
Okay. And I also as a character, Ashley Birch does her absolute best, and she's given nothing. I fundamentally
agree with
don't
you
like
on that.
Aloy, and so for me, it's like, you're supposed to be seeing this character, seeing this interesting and beautiful world through this character's eyes, and it's just this character who doesn't shut up and has nothing really interesting to say. And also, I don't know, there's just parts of it where it just feels like it's too big because it feels like it needs to be big to appeal to the modern #gamer. But there's really, I don't know, there's a lot of just reused gameplay stuff in there that I'm just not, I don't vibe with it. What I'm saying. I think I finished the first game for sure, and I got about halfway through the second one, and then I just went.
Fair enough. The second one is
I know
quite long.
you vibe with it.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it for its spectacle. As I've said many times before, for me, I put it in the same bucket as Avatar, which is that like I do not have deep emotional connection to it, but I appreciate its like spectacle, and it's like kind of, you're just on a roller coaster for a little bit and then you get off it and then you kind of forget about it, right? It doesn't leave a lasting impression, but it's spectacular and it's well made, and it's, technically astounding, and it has these incredible moments, and there are parts of it that really pop out for me, and that is enough for me to be like, yeah, cool, I'm really into this, right? So, and Jake, where do you sit on this? Are you are you a fan?
Kind of similar. I think
okay.
I don't enjoy it as much, but yeah, it's got its moments. It's cool. I just don't. I never have had the urge to replay it, or play in that world any longer. Like I didn't visit the DLCs or anything. I just didn't. Yeah.
I just think it's kind of crazy. I don't know the way that, like, this is not the first play that Sony has made with this franchise, because obviously we also had they had Call of the Mountain, the VR game. Remember that one?
That was actually pretty cool. Yeah. I actually like that a lot.
And that was the only, it was pretty much the only first party PSVR 2 title ever made. That was it. And then there was the Lego game, right? Which I think as a play to the kids market makes a lot of sense, because I'm like, cool, you got this thing that's clearly for adults, you want to reposition it, package it up so that that kids can get involved in the franchise. I'm like, okay, cool. Not a great game, to be honest with you. Definitely one of like the weaker Lego games, sadly, and just they didn't really do much with that, sadly. But whatever. You got this though, and I'm just like, I think there are quite a few Horizon fans who would have been interested in this, but because of its art style and its choices, I just think significantly fewer of them are. And I don't like Sony's chances of making up that player base on the other side, which I'm going to guess is clearly a younger demographic. Like, I don't imagine your average 35-year-old dude with 2 kids or whatever is looking at this and thinking, that's it, man. That's my next game. 100%. I'm in, baby. Yeah. That's not what this is, But if that same 35-year-old dad with 2 kids or whatever was, looking at this and he was seeing a different visual style and a sort of a different tone, he might have been like, you know what? Yeah, cool. I'm interested in that, It seems like the game that kind of that older demographic might have been interested in is being made by Nexon, because they're working on a mobile Horizon game called Still Frontiers, which is essentially Monster Hunter.
That's right.
But it's not available on PS5, right? It's only available on PC and mobile. So all of this is so weird. The whole way that Sony's managing this franchise is super weird. And I just look at this art style and I'm just like, and I look at the reception online. The like ratio, absolutely diabolical in this video. All the chatter online. And I think as well, it opens up a really interesting conversation about toxicity and what it means to be critical, because I think that so often new things come out in the video games business and people are like, oh, it sucks, it just sucks, it's just blanket negativity. And I think one of the counter narratives is oh, everyone is always so negative all the time. But then something like this comes along and there's a lot of negativity, but I don't think a lot of that negativity is toxic. I think just a lot of people are like, oh, I would have really liked to have played something like this, but this art style's not for me. Do you know what I mean? And then I think that criticism gets put in the bucket of being toxic, but it's not, man. It's literally just being hey, I think this looks bad. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that's definitely some of the
because
chatter
it's
I've seen.
It's like
about this.
it's not additive, this art style change. It's not like, oh, it's a different spin. It feels like a step away from like
100%.
what you like about the franchise. It's like, oh, but like this isn't really it. Like, what is this? You know, why? And I think it's interesting what you say. Like, is it worth essentially losing some of the install base that are aware of this franchise that would buy this, and try and garner some people that see the art style and are younger? Yeah. Where I don't think you're gonna get. Maybe you're not gonna get them. I don't know. Like it just doesn't feel like.
Again, like
I mean, the thing is, like, if a kid was wanting to play games with their friends, they would go to Fortnite.
They're gonna play Fortnite.
Because also there's an asking price, by the way. Because like we assume, right? We assume this is a $40 game. I think it's a pretty safe assumption, right? And so, you know, and then it's like, okay, let's say you grab like a younger demographic. You're trying to grab 15-year-old girls and boys, or you're trying to grab whatever. They're going to have to find $40 or ask their mum and dad to buy this. And maybe the dad or the mum or dad is like, yeah, cool. I know that game because I played it myself. And so sure, I'll shell out for this. We could play it together. I don't know. Like all of it just seems like such a unnecessary pivot away from what made this franchise so good, because again, the visual style I think is actually really fundamental to what the Horizon experience is. This is like, as I described why I enjoyed it, I talked about its technical sort of wizardry and its presentation and its spectacle and that, like, the design of the world and the design of the characters. Like, that's a huge part of it, the same way that Avatar is Avatar because of how good it looks. If you take away all that visual spectacle, all it is just kind of like a pretty generic, you know, hero story, like hero myth, whatever, right? So yeah, to walk away from all of that feels really reckless. And hey, maybe this comes out and we're like, this actually is the best thing ever, and we eat our words. But like, I don't know, man. I just am not at all interested in this because of its art style.
The thing that's getting me is I'm on the PlayStation.com page and I'm watching this GIF loop of these characters. I'm trying to think to myself what it is about these characters that I'm not enjoying. And I was thinking, like, just looking at them, it's like their proportions and their faces, they're very angular. And I was like, is it that I'm not jiving with? And then I got to thinking about Overwatch, which is having this insane resurgence right now. Yeah. I put a lot of time into Overwatch. And I was like, well, Overwatch had that when it came to character shapes and faces and models. Mm-hmm. And yet the thing that I'm seeing as I'm looking at Horizon Hunter's Gathering is that despite the fact that these characters are built and sculpted to step out from the background, every single thing that I look at here, it's more difficult to discern where this character is in its environment, and that is like this visual noise that is turning me off. If I think about Overwatch, it's the use of colors. Like, those games are not as detailed, but the detail that they do have is impactful enough, and I think that's why I can take one look at this game and just go, that's not for me. I just don't like that. It's too busy. And maybe for kids who still have joy in their hearts and, you know, maybe that's fine. But it's a strange game. I still find it fascinating, the amount of stock that PlayStation puts on the Horizon IP. I find it truly baffling.
Herman Hulst, baby.
Herman Hulst,
baby.
But you know,
I think you make a good point about characters, and I think another thing I would say about characters is that the characters in the Horizon universe are very rooted in their kind of like cultural backgrounds and cultural subtleties, and you know, and sort of and the weight of their responsibilities and personalities. And this here is just like, well, let's forget all of that and let's just make every character more zany than the next one. You know, like this is like, you know, Junkrat in Horizon, and it's kind of like, why is he in Horizon? It's like, again, I just think there are these very noble, strong, and I think Monster Hunter has the same sort of thing with the way that it builds its characters. They're about like nobility and strength and like cultural affiliation, and there's something like resonant about that, and that's what the Horizon franchise does too. And this game's like, nope, we're just doing the crazy old guy who has a hammer and he just looks like a madman. And it's like, okay, why exactly? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's another live service from Sony.
So we should probably say we're recording this early. We're recording this on Monday. And we haven't seen the Sony State of Play that is happening on Thursday. Find it very strange that they're announcing this before the state of play.
Yes.
And not even as a part of it.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, we have this thing. I mean, maybe they want to get out ahead of it.
I wonder. Look,
to not bring the dislikes down on the rest of the state of play.
At the end of the day, like Sony's people, it's a broad church. There's going to be people in there who knew to expect this kind of response. And they were probably like, look, let's get this out first and let's weather this storm first. And then after that, we'll let the like ratio on the other videos hold true and we let people focus on that sort of stuff. And there's probably going to be, there's rumors of that, what do you call that, God of War 2.5 game, you know, like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if that, and I'm sure Sony wants everyone talking about that, if that was to be revealed and it looks awesome, rather than being like, oh, here's another live service that we hate. So I'm sure there was some specific reasoning why they did this. It's probably quite clever, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think I think the gameplay loop stuff sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And had this game had a completely different art style and a completely different tone, I would actually be quite interested in this. I'd be really like, yeah, let's go. Like I'm actually interested in that Horizon Steel Frontiers thing. But I almost certainly, like I know almost certainly that I'm going to hate that because of the in-game spending. Like I know it's going to be atrocious. I know it's going to ruin it for me. So I can't, and like PS5 players can't even play that, which again, I just think is just unbelievable. But anyway, so I really would love to be excited for this, but I'm just not. And I'm kind of sad that I'm not because I'm like, hey, I'm someone that's like,
you're John Horizon.
I'm really out there pulling for this franchise, man. Everyone else is shitting on this franchise all the time. And I'm out here like, no, I like this franchise. It's good, man. Give it a chance. And even I'm just like, nah, man, this looks not good. Like, and I guess that's why I was having that little internal monologue about like, you know, toxic negativity and like toxic positivity and all that sort of stuff, because this is just one of those times where it's like, it's okay to say that a live service does not look good off the jump, and that's how I'm feeling with this one personally, or maybe not good, but like not for me, you know, and not for many people who I think are watching this this podcast, given like the age demographic. I know some people are excited for it. I've seen that chatter too, don't get me wrong, but I think the overwhelming sentiment is like, well,
actually, this leads us to a very good user question.
Do it.
From the J Juan Juan. It says, hi Lucy, Ralph, and Jake. First time writing to the show, my question to all of you is, do we let user reviews have too much power over media? Steam reviews, Metacritic's user score, etc. I feel like Ralph especially gives too much faith with user reviews. When High God released, it did get negative reviews because of its performance, but 70% of the views were negative because of review bombing on Steam. Same thing happened with Rotten Tomatoes user scores recently. You are telling me that the Iron Lung and the Millennia movie have higher user scores than The Godfather and Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, but I think user scores are the most inaccurate metric to judge games and movies, but I feel like we're letting that user score be more important than the critic score. Hope you have a good one. And Lucy, congrats on voice acting for Kind of Funny Top 10 of 2025. Thank you. So I think, Juan is arguing that like we should not be as interested in user scores.
I think they are Steam specifically, I think is the best like temperature check.
Correct.
It's the best if you want a quick read of the room. And because they're essentially always evolving, ongoing, it's an active check on the game at that period. And it can be completely different things where it's like, is it because it's just running like shit right now? And I agree that sometimes it can be hard to parse like, okay, the game is running poorly for a lot of people, but like past that, is it a good game? Sometimes it's harder to find that, but it's this very like Steam reviews, I think they fall in a very specific category that to me feels different than like a Rotten Tomatoes or an IMDb score or whatever, because they are this like ongoing ebb and flow type thing. But I think it goes both ways, where like you'll see a game get reviewed bombed because of performance or like whatever cultural thing, but then like you'll also like one of the games I'm going to talk about that I played this week had an overwhelming fan base that just praised this early access to high heaven, and it seemed like there was nothing wrong with it, but it's still an early access game. So it's interesting that it can be glazed up or glazed down or like, you know, bombed essentially. It's just I think me personally, I think I put the right amount of stock into these things. I think they're a really good read.
That's the thing, is that user scores and critic scores, if you look at them as two separate things, are so interesting because it's like, as the internet has become more widely adopted, and as anyone can go viral for like one thing, right? Anyone's voice can, at this point, cut above the noise by accident or on purpose, more so than ever in the history of humankind. And so I think what we used to have critics. It used to be this, and we still do, don't get me wrong, but it's like their voice was what we had heard because they would be in the positions where you would have that information, have that review disseminated among everyone else, right? And that was where you would get your information from. You had the platform, but now anyone can have the platform.
Yes.
And anyone, like, you can just log on and make an account and have your voice be heard. And some people, I think, just as some critics will do, maybe, like, they just really don't like something. They're going to tell you about it. Same opposite goes. They really like it. They're going to tell you about it. That's called an opinion. It's what happens. And so I think, to Jake's point as well, it's like, you gotta just, I don't know, media awareness, media literacy, read multiple sources. Yeah, because don't just like follow the people that you like, but at the same time, you know, if every review is mentioning the same thing, hey man, it's probably going to be the same thing that everyone is having the issue with or that everyone loves. It's the problem is that when you reduce things to just a score, and the fact that we're always being bombarded with the information at all times, right? You just want to get the quickest possible answer. It's like, Grok, is this good? You know, Google AI, tell me, is this good, right? But really, if you want to get a full picture of something, you kind of have to look outside of your normal.
Yeah.
And I think, too, that it's not very, the user versus, critic score thing. It's always easy to run with the narrative where it's like, the disconnected critics, on one hand, don't like this thing, and then the fans love it, or vice versa. But that's easy to run with, but that's not always the case. And I think that that gets upended all the time. There are sometimes things that are so bad that critics and users despise it. There are some things that are so undeniably good that both love it. So I don't think it's ever you can't even look at that as a binary thing either.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think, coming back to the question, I think I definitely don't agree that I put too much stock in user reviews. I think even with Highguard, I think if you look at my commentary around that, it was very much there was review bombing, but at the same time, there were lots of issues with performance, and that was a really big problem on Steam in particular. Her performance was horrendous. You know what I mean?
Resolution was fake.
It was terrible,
it was crazy,
and so and I think there were also obvious design issues with the game and all that sort of stuff. So, and I definitely presented that as I talk about user reviews. I never take user reviews on face value and just repeat them without trying to understand what they are and why they are that way. Because if something is really low, I always take the time to understand why that's the case. Sometimes it can be a translation issue because, and this used to happen before user reviews were split out by region. But, because there's so many Chinese players, a bad Chinese translation can result in a really overwhelmingly negative rating on a game. But the rest of the reviews are really positive, right? And that's just how that worked. Now they've changed that so that doesn't occur. And yeah, so I have always tried to provide that context and nuance when talking about them. But ultimately, I land in the same place as Jake, which is that I think they are the best way to arrive at a view of a game. Eventually, at the beginning when there's all that sort of that initial action where people are going crazy and they're just doing stupid bullshit and review bombing or review pumping for no reason. Sure, that's just noise. You got to keep that in context. But over the span of time, the user reviews mostly get it right. Most of the time, and there are certain instances where I don't even really care what critics have to say about something, and I really only care about user reviews. One perfect example, strategy games. I generally could not care less about what most critics think about strategy games because the strategy game community is its own different thing, and they play these games for thousands of hours, and they live and breathe this stuff and whatever else. And most game reviewers will play Civilization for 40 hours and be like, yep, it's pretty good, 8 out of 10. It's another one. That's nothing, right? Yeah. That's not to disregard the work of critics, by the way. That's what I do for a living. But I recognize that there are certain games and certain genres that we're going to be better equipped to review than others. And again, certain games and genres where the user score and the actual players are going to be the absolute best source of truth when it comes to what those games really are and what's going on with them. So I don't think we put too much emphasis on user scores. I think that your average person, I would put it this way. Maybe your average punter who doesn't pay close attention, they see a headline saying like, it's, high guard is 10% overwhelming negative or some shit. Maybe they just see that, oh, that's pretty bad. I suspect your average person that's watching this podcast and like really tries to keep up with shit and what's going on, I think they get that nuance. They understand those contours. They understand what review bombing is, and they're willing to take that extra step to say like, okay, well, that's what the review bombing was at the beginning. But then, like a week later, how's it actually look? How are the scores shifting? How are people actually talking about this game? So I'm not super worried about how my audience interprets this information because I think they know like how to contextualize it.
Yeah, I would say like two little addendums to this is that you can put a lot of stock in user scores. Like you talked about Iron Lung or whatever, getting a really high user score and being better than The Godfather and Lord of the Rings. It's like people like. Publishers, PR agencies will cherry pick from critic reviews and like user reviews as much. Like if something I think is really bad, you can tell because they always only ever use Twitter reviews. But it's like or X, the everything app. It's like there will always be, if you are looking at something, at least an official piece of media that's like supporting or promoting a film or a game or something. And the accolades trailer, they usually call it. It's like always cherry picked from the very best of the best. So it's like in that case, both are used in equal ways. But I would say in terms of user ratings, the only thing worse than a bad user rating are no user ratings. Because at the end of the day, it is that thing where it's like no publicity.
I'm sorry.
Publicity.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm so sorry. I lost track of everything and I was upstairs and I said
that's so cool. I was actually I alt-tabbed over to Steam at that exact moment to be like, is he still live streaming on Steam?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's actually like a looping stream that we did a while back. It just keeps playing.
Okay, cool. Fantastic.
Sorry. I apologize.
You're not worried. Hang on, I'm just gonna mark a thing.
Should we just keep it rolling without the marker? Let's just keep rolling straight into this because that's kind of a cool way to do this introduction. I think it kind of works. But we're joined now.
If you're okay with that.
You know what? I want to. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I really like that. There's backgrounds. The backgrounds look. Yeah, I'm digging your guys' houses. It's rare. It's rare that I see other people that have
my garage. Thank you very much.
Cool stuff. I like cool stuff.
Well, we're just so any audio listeners know, we're joined now by Edmund McMillen, creator of the soon-to-be released. Is it actually out now, right now, or is it like a few hours away, or what?
I don't know. What do we got? What time is it? We got like 12 or 13 hours to go.
Damn. Yeah, nice. Sweet. Okay. Mewgenics. Mewgenics has just had its review cycle, and it's the highest rated game of the year by a pretty significant margin.
Yeah, don't point out that it's February, just in case other people are.
Well, I mean, still, is it still sitting at a 90 on OpenCritic?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's it. So that's still pretty massive, regardless of when it is. And obviously, before that, you'd done Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy and lots of other smaller projects as well. We're really glad that you were able to make the time to join us this close to release. So yeah, thank you for joining the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. I'm sorry for being late.
No, not at all. Totally it's awesome to have you here. So tell us now, you're like 12 hours away and you're here with us. How you feeling? Like nervous, excited, stressed? What up?
Yeah, I'm running off about like 4.5 hours of sleep, but like a lot of coffee and soda. So I feel weird. Kind of like losing track of time, and it's that feeling. It's that constant feeling of I'm forgetting something, and this time I was. This time I was forgetting something.
So you're forgetting what? Nice.
Yeah, it's really hard to keep track of anything. We're trying to wrap up all the little bits and pieces so we can just launch and then just be done and try to enjoy people playing it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like you've built this really interesting community around you over the last I don't know, how long are you making games now? 15 years? Longer?
I think 22 years.
22 years, so a little bit longer than 15, yeah. And I'm curious, like in the lead up to a release like this, which has been, the game's been long in development, whatever, is there a sense of like celebrating with the community? Are people like sort of, are you hanging out with people in streams and getting ready for things? Are you kind of like have people around you for this last little step?
Yeah, today was kind of like a victory lap before the race starts or something. I don't know. Yeah, we did it. We did like a 3-hour long stream where we just pulled in everybody, so we could introduce the people you don't see in interviews, and talk about what they did and development, because the development was for most of the team, development was like 4 to 5 years, and for us it was 6. And a lot of work went into it, and a lot of people came and went. A lot of people came back, and it's been a really cool experience overall. It's pretty crazy to think that like in total about 10 people were working on this at a time, switching people out and stuff like that. And we've never had an issue in 6 years. Wow. Never, not even the slightest, no bump. No one there was no problems with anybody. I never had to like tell somebody that they needed to work more. It's just like, I didn't have to be a boss,
Right.
I didn't have to feel like I needed to really crack too many whips. It was just like, do what you can.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why did it come? How do you achieve that, you think?
I mean, the possibility of working with fans, I think there's like a mutual respect. Like everyone that I'm working with, I found from fan art or somebody who knew me and knew my work. And I'm very comfortable with working with those people because I don't have to talk and explain too much, because they understand the underlying feeling, message, and whatever else. They kind of know what to expect. And I can let them do, I trust other artists. And there was a lot of that. It was like, I just trust you to do you, because I chose you because I liked the work that you did. And I also liked that you kind of draw like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gosh.
So it was just cool overall. And and everyone, I guess a big one too is everybody's a self-motivated independent artist. Like they were already doing stuff, and they're just doing their own thing. And pulling somebody in and being like, listen, yes, technically you're working for me on this project, but I want you to treat this as if it was yours, and you do you. And there was a lot of that, a lot of just handing things off and being like, here's a rough area to play in, have fun. And I liked it personally. It was fun. It was fun to collaborate in that way.
Nice.
So Mewgenics, why cats? Where did you start with cats? Because I know like you have like a lot of your games have aspects of like your personal life and stuff like that. Like, are you a big cat guy, or where'd that come from?
So the prototype that came out in like 2013, like right after Binding of Isaac, it was kind of a joke at my wife's expense. She had I guess it was a joke at my expense too. She had a thing where she said, "Okay, if you ever start a new project, which means neglecting me, I will have a cat." And at that point, we were up to 4, and and she got into the exotic cat market. So we had a few Sphinx cats. Yeah, and that's weird. It's weird. It's weird to experience questionable moral dilemma of breeding these things that aren't going to live as long because of what you're doing, to just because they look weird or fun for our own enjoyment. And I thought that was interesting, and I thought it would be fun and funny to write about. So I made a game about like cat hoarding and cat breeding and all that stuff, and inbreeding and all that nonsense. And that's initially what it was. So it was personal to, initially. It felt like that was my life. And then it got canceled about like a year and a half into development. And that was done. But when I restarted the IP with Tyler, at that point I had a daughter and another one on the way. And the game kind of became more about having kids, really, and like genetics and stuff you pass down, and dealing with the flaws that you give your children and, hoping for the best and doing what you can to lean towards your strengths and the legacy you leave behind, I guess.
But enveloped in a lot of humor too.
Yeah, it's no fun to talk about depressing stuff unless you're laughing at something.
Sure.
If I put a little poop in there, and then it's okay. It's not so depressing anymore.
Yeah, and all the cats are gross and fucked up. Like,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
like.
and all the characters are especially fucked up, man. All your like your NPCs, man. There's something wrong with all of them.
Yeah. Yep. That's the vibe. They're not. I mean, for the most part, all of them are pretty bad people, but they are humans. I don't know. It's just a game showing that animals are better than humans. That's all.
Yeah. It's funny because my brother Alec, he basically has paid like more than 1,000 hours of Isaac. Like it's just like he's his game, man. That's it. And so I actually called him before this interview, and I'm like, hey man, if you had the chance to like ask Edmund anything, what would you ask him? He's like, well, best advice I can give you is actually go and watch the interview he did with Northern Lion back like 2 years ago or whatever, or like a little bit more now.
Yeah.
And I think he said some like really interesting things in that interview that I'd love to follow up on if that's okay with you.
Sure, I don't remember it. I think
no, that's fine. I can definitely prompt you.
Yeah, I think I just had Mini or
yes.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it was very introspective about like, your life and your capacity to continue doing this thing as you sort of got older and had kids and whatever else. And I was curious, like, how have you found that journey over the last couple of years as you've settled into this next project? And have you found that kind of work-life balance that you were really seeking back then? Or do you feel as though it's still a pretty challenging path to hold it all together?
No, I have not.
If not, okay.
And yeah,
Honesty.
my wife would say it's very challenging.
Yeah.
How many cats does she have now?
We just have one, but she has 7 chickens, so that's
Okay.
the new thing.
Sure.
It's very, very hard, especially in the last year of development, and it ramps and ramps and ramps. And to the point where like the past couple weeks, I mean, everyone's been holding on pretty good. It's nothing too explosive. Everybody's been pretty happy, which is very nice. And, we're literally hours away from the end of this. And I'm glad I'm still married.
Sure.
And I think my kids love me, so that's good.
There you go.
But my youngest only knows me as the guy working on the cat game that's always in his office and can't play with her because I'm busy. You know what I mean? So it's been like that for a long, long time. And she has no idea that there can be in any other way. But
do you see that changing perhaps after this project? Or,
I mean, I'd hope so. Seriously, if my wife was here, she would be like, of course, you better. You promised you're not going to do something else.
Sure.
But I'm sure I'll work on DLC and stuff and start working on more stuff, because if I don't, then I'll get depressed, and that would be even worse than being a neglectful father. I'll be a neglectful, angry man.
Sure.
No one likes angry men.
No, sure. And because one of the things you mentioned before is that you'd really like to go back and do some, or like after Isaac wrapped, you were looking to do some smaller projects. Is that maybe something in the future for you as well?
I don't know. I don't know. I've got so much stuff that I need to do. I need to maintain the house. I need to maintain my health, my weight. I need to help my kids with school. My kids are both homeschooled, and my wife is taking the brunt of that. So I need to help. I need to be. My wife reminds me that she did not sign up to have 2 kids by herself. So I'm going to try. Try to do that.
And I think. I guess one other thing I was really interested in is like in that interview with Northern Lion, you were like, oh, I'm really keen to have some space from Isaac to sort of like look back on it and understand where it's landed in terms of it's how people have received it and where it sits in the kind of overall pantheon of games and whatever. Now that you've had some distance between that, how are you feeling about Isaac and its place and things?
1 sec, let me shut off this people bothering me thing. I forgot to put Do Not Disturb on. I feel really good about where it's at, and it's kind of weird. I don't look at numbers. I'm just not somebody who does that. But every year I have to pay Florian, who was one of the original co-creators, and I give him a chunk of everything. And he just pointed out, wow, that's more than last year. And I was like, oh. I was like,
wow.
Really? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, you didn't realize that the game's making more every year for 6 years. It's just like,
that's wild.
No, I was like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Like since that interview with Northern Lion, the game has made a lot more every year. And that's just nuts.
Why do you think that is?
I have no, I the only thing I can say it is I've noticed a younger audience embracing it.
Okay.
So there's a lot of 6, 7 in comments.
Jesus.
Oh no.
So I've noticed a lot of younger memes, Isaac memes, and it's kind of crazy. It's like the SpongeBob memes that were really popular, 10 years ago or whatever, a lot of them are Isaac memes now. And it's like, it's like, well, I guess a lot of people grew up with their older brother who played a lot of Isaac, and now they know all about it, and it's become a part of pop culture or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, that's just nuts. The whole story is nuts.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of that has to do with replayability, because it is that kind of game where you can play it for 1,000 hours and still get an original run that you've never had before.
Yeah.
Interested to hear how you took those lessons from Isaac and transposed those onto Mewgenics, which is a completely different genre, but still has a lot of the same kind of underpinnings in terms of design.
Oh yeah, no. Isaac it's way more infinite. It's way more. It's crazy.
Isaac is more infinite, or Mewgenics?
No, I'm sorry, Mewgenics. Mewgenics is way more infinite. The last stream I did, we had Alex, who does he was our editor, one of my editors has to go through I can't spell it. So he's going through everything, making sure I, look good. And he was also one of the first big play testers who could finish the game. And he has 1,200 hours in it. And he says,
wow,
he says it's astounding to him that he'll pop into the Discord, the tester Discord, and he'll see so-and-so's bragging about this thing that they saw. And he's like, I've never seen that. and then they'll just get him to play again, and then he'll end up seeing stuff that he never saw before. There's just so much stuff. Isaac is at this point, 2 paths, a bunch of different bosses, and 700 something items, right? But Mewgenics is 3 acts, so three sets of paths that branch, and 950 items and 1,200 abilities. That's the core of the game, and all of those abilities can talk to each other, and then hundreds of events that all have shitloads of options and outcomes and all this rare stuff that can happen. The variables are so much higher than Isaac that you kind of end up with a completely different experience. Not only just your save, you're not going to have the same experience as your friend who's playing with alongside you or whatever. It's going to be a completely unique experience for you. But each run is also completely unique. So I hope people dig it. I mean, people seem to really like it so far. We started letting more people in the last week that have been begging and pleading for copies of the game, and they're constantly showing me. It's just weird. It's how does somebody rack up? What's that noise?
That's from Lucy's computer.
Oh, that's my PC. I'm sorry. I keep sort of muting. Because it is so
like a train going by.
No, I'm sorry. I am. You know what? Next episode, I will move it off my desk.
I love it.
No worries. I thought it was me. I thought there was something flying around outside.
No, I mean we've been playing it ourselves the last.
Yeah, so far so good.
I put about 5 hours into it now. I've just finished my first junkyard run.
Oh yeah, you're in the you're still on the rails.
Still really early on, right?
Yeah, very.
And already it's overwhelming just how many different things there are to track, and how many the number of the number of classes and abilities and passives and items that pop up, and just already you can just see how crazy it's going to get in the long term. But also just the sheer number of enemies that I'm fighting and the arenas that I'm fighting in, and it's literally just the first 5 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has been pretty crazy, and I guess that sort of takes me back to another point that you made in that sort of Northern Lion interview, where you talked about the excuse me, the number of things that need to be created to wow an audience today versus what you had to create back then. Because Isaac started with a couple of 100 items or whatever, and now it's 1,000 or whatever, or 700, whatever you said it was, right? How much pressure did you feel as you went through the development of this to like hit those big numbers and like, no, we need more? Or was there different pressures that were pushing you toward having just that amount of stuff in there on launch day?
It was, I not so much, I mean, I guess I'm more self-imposed pressure. It was kind of like, I think going in, we had an idea what we were doing, and I think about 2 years ago is when we were like, oh, I think I see what this is. And this is a system that the more we add to it, the more depth it has. And I think we just kind of went for it and put our heads down and just did what we could. And then when we put our heads up, we realized, hey, we're getting pretty close to the amount of content in the Binding of Isaac now. And we should probably, because people are going to compare. So if we can reach that, we should. And then it just flew right past it. But yeah, I kind of painted myself into a corner, really. You know, people play Isaac now, like these kids now that are playing Isaac, they're playing with all the expansions and they're thinking this is Isaac, but it's like, this is like a 10-year project, like that was ongoing that many people worked on for many, many years. And to come out of the gates with something that is comparable is extremely hard. And I don't think we were trying to go for it. Oh, there it's back.
Lucy.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's the bees.
I was going to follow up with a question. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'll just raise my hand. Okay, I'll raise my hand.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, just we went for it. And I think it got there. I would say 6 months ago, I was saying, like, I think this could be as good as The Binding of Isaac. And I was, like, kind of thinking. And then in the last 6 months, having it all come together, I would say, yes, this is my best work. And I think it's better than Binding of Isaac. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Easily. You there? Yes?
Hands raised. So, I mean, you spoke pretty candidly there about, you know, the impact that this development cycle had on you with your family and health and everything. And like, what kept you going? Was it to make something that would be better than Isaac, or just because you had that much faith in what you were doing? Like, what was getting you out of bed every day and getting you in front of that computer?
Oh, no, it was just really fun. It was just really fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just a really fun project. And I loved making it, and I loved playing it. I mean, I was, of course, playing it as I was making it. And no, you get excited and you want to entertain others. And I'm, you know, a few years back, I started DMing for my family and stuff. A friend, one of my daughter's friends' dads was like, have you ever DM'd? And I'm like, dude, I tried to DM when I was little, and like all my friends just wanted to go smoke pot and they didn't give a fuck. Or they would come in and they'd be like, I'm going to kill the shopkeeper. And it's like, oh, okay. This is what we're doing. Can you give me a wand of polymorph? Come on. And it's just like, okay, we're just going to roll some dice and then you're going to leave. So I kind of gave up on it. I was like, oh, whatever. And then he's like, you kind of are DMing already. Like, you're a game designer and I think you'd really like it. And I got real into it, real deep into it. And I wrote quite a few campaigns that we ran. And then I jumped over to, it's called DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, and Mutant Crawl Classics. And I really like that whole setup. It's really creative. Ran a shitload of stuff. I ran the Curse of Strahd, which I really loved. And I learned a lot from that. And I kind of realized that I want to entertain. Like, I really enjoy it. I really like controlling this world, this setting, and creating this world and letting you play in it, and then just kind of guiding you through it. And I'm really, really looking forward to watching people play it. That's, I think, both me and Tyler would say that's the big payoff here is, it's going to be really exciting to see the kind of stuff that happens to people. Yeah.
Well, it's out in like 12 hours. I've been playing it on desktop and also on Steam Deck. Really nice on Steam Deck, actually. Like, really seamless, super, like, really recommend people check it out on Steam Deck, actually, because it's just nice to sit there. And it's that kind of game where you can just kind of vibe out. And I don't know, I've had a really good time with it for that 5 hours, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing many hours more. Yeah. And so for you personally, you're going to go through this launch. You're going to sit there and watch a bunch of people play. I imagine you're going to take a little bit of time to chill. And then you said you're thinking about some DLC stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay.
You're right. And
I mean, we've been talking about it for 2 years. we kind of locked things down way back. We're like, okay, realistically, we can only get this much done. You know, it's really fun to design new classes and all their abilities and all their unique designs. There's just so much that you can do, and we had to stop and put that in a tab that says DLC ideas.
Wow.
Sure,
Later. We're doing it later. Hey, by the way, have you played Lucy, the mage? There's a mini
One
boss
called Lucy?
Yeah.
Oh no,
Lucy.
I haven't got there yet.
Yeah. She's awesome.
If you've got a cat called Peanut or Jelly, then
I guarantee there's a peanut and a jelly in the game. 100%.
I'm ready to screenshot.
Wait,
100%.
is it true that... Wait, I saw a thing on Reddit that the Red Letter Media guys are in this. Is this true or not?
Yeah, no. Yeah, they are.
They're voicing... Are they voicing
almost
cats?
all of them. Almost all of them are.
Are they voicing cats or characters or what?
Cats. I mean, the
They're
cats
voicing
are
cats.
characters, but yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
cool.
like vocal sets. So like every time a cat is generated, stray or otherwise, it is handed one of 150 plus vocal sets, and then it's pitched depending on the DNA of the cat. Like if you have a bloodline of cats that have high voices, like if their dad has a high voice, then they'll retain the pitch of the voice. So it'll be like, Rich Evans.
Do any of the cats laugh? Is there any chance we can hear a Rich Evans laugh just popping out of one of the cats?
100%. There's definitely
awesome.
when Rich Evans dies, he says, "Oh my god!"
I'm
Game
so
of the
excited.
year.
Of course.
Game of the year.
I'm so excited. Game of the year, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun, random, total nonsense in there. A lot of old school stuff too. A lot of my personal heroes as well.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of that, I would love to know, just like talking to a creative, I don't know how like online you are. It sounds like you work on the games a lot. But do you, knowing your past with like Flash and stuff like that, is there anything out there now, any communities? Where do you see that type of energy now in 2026? Where we used to have that energy in Flash.
I mean,
games?
it's on Discord somewhere. It's tucked away on Discord in some weird nook and cranny, I assume. Like, I just deferred to my niece and nephew who kind of live online as well, and like my niece just has her whole friend group is just on Discord, in her Discord group, and I don't even know what that is. I don't even know. She loves them. She's playing D&D with them all the time. Cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was definitely part of the Newgrounds community. And I loved it. As harsh and horrible as it was still surprisingly welcoming and inspiring and creative and no holds barred, funny. And then after that, when I kind of got more into indie games, there was that kind of community. And I think by like 2009, 2010, it kind of got polarized like everything, and less welcoming and more alienating. Then I just went away and hid back where I came from.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure the kids will find ways. I don't know. I don't know. I've been seeing them. They're pretty funny. So
yeah,
I think they're okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we've been having a great time. Really want to play some more of it. So like, thank you for making it. And congratulations on the success. You. Like, it's been incredible to see that review result, and I'm sure players are going to respond the same way. So yeah, I just wanted to say a big thank you for being with us today. Thank you for taking the time this close to launch. It's been really great having you here, and love to check in again in the future after you've had a good break.
Yeah, I'd love to check in after you played the game a little more. Like, if you played The Binding of Isaac, you know that once you kill Mom, the game opens up, and a lot of people like go into Isaac and don't realize that, and they'll kill Mom and they think they beat the game, but really that's the start. That the equivalent of that in this game is beating Act 1. So you've unlocked the caves and you unlocked the junkyard, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, so sewers and junkyard. Yeah,
so this game is played in 3 chapters. So that's the full run. So you would go, well, you can go either way now, but if you go alley, sewers, caves, that's a full run, and now you've experienced somewhat of the game. But once you've beaten both end caps, there's like a big boss at the end of each of those areas. Right. Then it will unlock Act 2, and it will flood you with stuff, and the game just completely opens. Okay, and it'll do it again after like 150 hours as well, but it's there for you.
Sure, just the tutorial is just the first 150 hours. That's nice. I like that. All right, well, look, thank you.
We don't want to overwhelm you.
Yeah. That's right. Take it slow. That's the JRPG design philosophy. Sure. It gets good after the first 100 hours, I promise.
Stick with it.
No, but thank you again. Really do appreciate it. And all the best with launch.
Yeah,
thank
Edmund,
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. why I'm doing this. I don't know why my hands are up. But anyway, we'll be right back with more talking, and more jazz hands after a quick word from our sponsors. Jake, how's Boston? Does he ask after me?
Boston, the dog, is still obsessed with you. Yes, he does ask about you. But he's also been eating great thanks to the sponsor of this podcast, The Pet's Table. If you don't know, they are a premium dog food brand from the people behind HelloFresh. So it's legit. And Boston, the dog, has been eating so well.
Eating like a king. So there are 9 recipes, all formulated with a board-certified vet nutritionist. What's his favorite? What's the vibe? How has he changed since he started eating it?
There's a pork stew that he really likes, but also we essentially get the box that he has a little bit of variety, keeps it exciting for him. Also, they give you this fun little blue plastic container to like put it in, and he can see the blue because he's a dog. It's like how their eyes work. So he gets excited when you take it out of the fridge. He gets hyped. We've tried a lot of other dog food brands with him. He's not too picky, but he's like genuinely excited for this food, and he gobbles it down. So that says something. And it's like human grade quality food. Like I look at it, I'm like, I would eat this. This looks good as hell. So it's like, they're getting like the protein, the gut health. He's got a healthy coat. He's in good shape thanks to this stuff. And it's easy. It's easy to set up. You give him basic information about your dog. You get the amount of food for the dog. Pet's Table just makes it really easy.
Well, help your dog live their best life with high-quality food from the Pet's Table. Take advantage of this limited time offer. Get 55% off your first box, plus 10% off your next 2 at thepetstable.com and use code FPS55. That's thepetstable.com, code FPS55. Thank you so much to the Pet's Table for sponsoring this episode and keeping Boston happy. Jake, what were you doing in 2011?
What was I doing in 2011? I was not wearing the sponsor of this podcast, Chubbies, but please tell me what was going on in 2011.
Well, in 2011, Chubbies was founded by a group of friends who wanted to redefine what it means to have proper length shorts. And it's their 15th anniversary, and so to celebrate, they're bringing back the originals, the shorts that started it all.
Yeah, and with them, it's all good quality stuff, well made, thoughtfully tailored, of course, but also they have expanded. So they have the shorts, but they also have shirts, the whole 9 yards. Lightweight stuff, comfort first, stretchy, good, but also really creative prints. Good, colorful stuff if you want to, really kind of express yourself a little bit. Chubbies got you covered.
And when it comes to fabric, of course, they got you covered in more ways than one. They got you covered with quick drying fabric that is wrinkle resistant and antimicrobial, which is a word I definitely know how to say and didn't have to look up. But also there's a wide range. There's casual, athletic, swim, and it has I'm not going to talk about the supportive boxer brief. I'll leave that to you, Jake.
Just know that it supports you right. It's comfort. It's designed for men. They get it. It's a good fit, and you're probably going to you're going to wear it and thank us later. So if you want to check it out for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off with code FRIENDS at chubbiesshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with code FRIENDS. Give your thighs the VIP treatment they deserve with Chubbies. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Just go to, again, chubbiesshorts.com and use code FRIENDS for 20% off. And big thanks to Chubbies for sponsoring this video and podcast. It's a video podcast.
Hi, everyone. God damn it. This is why I never know what to do with my hands, and this is why.
You're a professional video person.
People say that when they're standing up for a photo. They don't say that when they're sitting at their desk with their hands out of frame in a podcast. Like, that does not make sense.
Look, it's been a long day. Anyway, okay. What have you boys been playing?
Cairn.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Why'd you say it like that? Cairn.
It's Australian. It's Cairn.
It is an Australian word, right?
Cairn. It just means like, come on, but like in Australian, it's come on. It's like we just abbreviate it to Cairn.
I like that. That's so abbreviated. That's like just get rid of all the letters.
Cairn.
You finished?
I finished. Yeah.
Can you believe
I think that like and I haven't done my review for this yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll center it around one climb. There is one climb that happens after you exit the
I know exactly what climb you mean.
Yes, there's the windows and there's a sheer cliff in front of you.
Oh yeah.
That's when Jake messaged me too.
Yeah.
I was just like, so I saw this climb and I'm like, okay, I have to do this climb, but I need to be ready for it first. So I literally slept overnight. I'm like, I can't do this climb tonight. I need to be well rested. Okay.
Wait, are you talking about in the game or in real life?
Yes. No, this is what I'm saying, right? I was like, I need to be well rested for this climb. Okay. And then the next day I woke up and I kind of found myself, I was about to play the game and I just like looking in the mirror and I was like, okay, you can do this. Like, I was like really ready to psych myself. I was psyching myself up to do this climb. Okay. And I was like, oh, but I got to get some food into me first, right? I'm going to eat a good meal before I do this climb. Okay. Because to this point, by the way, I'd found this game so hard. I'm not sure if you found this game as hard. Like, I think people have had different relationships to it. Yeah. I found it so hard. Not in the sense of like, oh, mechanical complexity, but just like what it was doing to me personally when I would fail and it would cost me time.
Oh, yeah.
Because like this is a thing of like, and I think we're all similar, like we're all busy, right? And I think for me personally, one of the things I struggle with is like losing my time. And this is essentially a game where at any point in time, your time investment can be just yanked away from you. Yeah. Because, and the way this works, so we know it's a rock climbing game, and there are save points as you go up, but sometimes there are longer climbs where there's no save point as you do those climbs. And, you know, sometimes you can spend like, I don't know, 20 minutes or so climbing. And if you fall, that 20 minutes is gone. Yeah. And so this created a real anxiety in me because I was like, well, I need to finish this game because I've got to move on to other things and I can't lose that time. And so it created this anxiety. So preparing for this climb that I saw, it was the biggest climb by far. Like this wall that I was about to climb was like 8 times the size of any other climb that I'd done to this point. And I knew there were no save point going on because I could just see. I was like, okay. So I started this climb. This climb took me about an hour and a bit. Right?
Did you go straight up the middle or did you go, because I went to the left.
I went around, I did all sorts of things and whatever else.
Because that was the one that I kept just falling
Correct.
off.
Yeah. It took me more than an hour. I think it was really like maybe an hour and 20 or something. And the first couple of attempts were just kind of like fucking around and dying or whatever. But then I was like on the climb and I was like, okay, cool. I've done this. And I blacked out like 4 times up that climb, right? I was completely tapped out of every single thing that I could consume. I had nothing left, nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, every bar was like just 0 basically. And I was probably 15 meters from the top and I'd been climbing for like over an hour. And I felt like I wanted to cry. I felt like because I was looking at this and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to finish this climb. I'm going to fall and all of that time will have been wasted.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, if I fail, I will delete this game and never play it again. And it will be the worst game ever made. If I succeed, this will be the greatest game I've ever played. It's game of the year, baby. Like I was literally on that thing right there, that moment. And I went for an ascent, fell, got caught by my little ropey thing, went up again, fell, and I was like, this is not going to happen. And then I went to a different direction. I was so about to die. Like it was ridiculous how close I was to death. And then at the very end, I managed to just like claw my way up and the cutscene rolled. And I just was like, I just sat with my head in my hands like this for a minute afterwards.
Yeah.
I was just like that level of relief washing over me. And that's when I was like, this is the best game I've ever played. This is incredible, you know.
It's good.
So good.
But like that story of like what Cairn is, I can't, like there are very few games that can do anything close to that. that kind of, because like difficulty, the way that we talk about it is very often so like short bursts. Like difficulty in Silk Song is a short burst, or difficulty in like a Souls-like or whatever, it's one boss. But that kind of sustained difficulty where you have so much time investment hanging on the line, that's very rare. And it really pushes you into places that few other games do. So incredible game, man.
Yeah, especially when you fall and then you think you're safe, but then she flops off of another ledge and then you just know you're gonna die.
Bro, don't
also,
even
the fact that she can, when you're climbing, the game mechanically is like a little jacked up here and there in terms of like how if you're standing, right? Like, when you get to a surface where your hands are on a wall, but like your feet are on solid ground, but she's still in climbing mode, and you just want to let go of the wall.
So funny.
If you press B to let go of the wall,
she does this.
Yeets herself.
Like, she just completely throws herself back. And you're like, just take a step back, okay?
Yeah,
you don't
relax.
need to do that.
Yeah. The amount of times I fucked myself with that. Also, I think one of the best little underrated things too is the pitten. When you're like, she's so you last minute do one and you get it in just in time.
Yeah.
And you clip in, like, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you'll get it into the wall and then she'll fall off. Then you have to manually climb back up and clip it in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all those moments, like those, like, you're like gritting your teeth.
Yeah.
So good.
I was listening to the Besties at the weekend, and they were talking about climbing terms. And one of them is called like the Elvis leg or something. And it's when you're on the wall.
The shaky
and you're
legs.
Like, the shaky leg. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't know that when I played, because it would be all I could think about. Mama, I'm stuck on the wall, Mama.
It's funny because like I've also done some rock climbing, very little, but like I have done it, and so I kind of understand that feeling of like when the leg shakes, and like also the importance of like pushing with your legs when you are doing things versus like pulling up with your hands.
Yeah, it's physics, right? And like cracks more than just strength. Like more than just like
yeah, it's understanding that the real strength comes from your legs, right?
Yeah.
And so you're basically trying to put your upper body in a position where you are able to push with your legs. That's essentially a lot of what climbing is. And I think that it's so fascinating as well, just like how accurate a simulation it is, right? Not that it's truly accurate, because it's a video game and there's all these weird sorts of like
noodle arms,
quappy things going on, right? But it's accurate enough where you're like, oh, okay, I can kind of see the mechanics of how I can position my character, and I can get a sense, well, if I can get my legs there, then I can get a point where my body can be pushed and it can do that thing. And that part of it also is quite brilliant. And it's imperfect because sometimes you're on like a very chill ledge and you got some easy footholds and some easy handholds and you're on the right angle and she's still like, and you're like, you're fine. I'm literally yelling at the screen. I'm like, you're fine. You're okay. Okay. Just stop.
Horrible things.
So that is super annoying. And I think that was another thing that I was thinking about a lot as I was playing through it, because I was like, well, the stakes for failure are so high in this game that those sorts of little things that fuck up, they almost become like inexcusable, because you're just so mad in that moment that you didn't do anything wrong, but the game just kind of had a little like, a little tantrum at you and it was like, nah, you're off. And I definitely found myself really pissed off in those moments and be like, is this game even good? But it's like, no, of course it's good. It's just like got some rough edges, but those rough edges don't matter in the big scheme of like what it's actually achieving. And that 98% of the time, the physics engine gets it right. Like it is taking those things into consideration accurately. And if you fall, it's your fault 98% of the time. But
I find it's quite fair when sometimes if you fall and it kind of tries to right you and puts you back on a ledge instead of like sometimes just making you go fall all the way to the bottom. There's been a couple times like that.
Very rarely. I noticed that too. Very rarely.
My only, if we are talking criticisms, to pivot more into the story,
100% agree with you.
So for me, the only thing I didn't like was the other character that you meet climbing the mountains, where he was there as a vessel to learn more about Ava, which I liked. I liked getting more of her character, but the character himself kind of lessen the impact of like what I felt like I was doing, because every time I just felt like I conquered the earth and climbed a ledge, I'd get a cutscene and he'd be like, "Hi, I barely know how to climb, but I've been here. What's up?" And I'm like, that takes a little bit of the wind out of my sails, where I felt like I'm the only person here and I just did the impossible thing. You know?
I totally agree with that. I also think that like I didn't love the way that like Ava was portrayed. It just felt very heavy-handed in a way. Like, I'm not sure how to describe it, but like the story of Ava is that like Ava is someone who doesn't care. Like, she just wants to climb. She doesn't want to be bothered by anything else on the ground. She only sees the mountain. It's like all she sees, it's what's in her. Everything else is an annoyance and what have you. But it's like, well, she also signed a deal with this person who is trying, like, sponsored her thing, and then she kind of just smashes the camera that the sponsors were obviously reliant on. So she kind of just broke that deal straight away. She has a partner that obviously cares about her, but Ava's just like, fuck off, don't talk to me. Like, you know, stuff happens with her pet back home, which I won't spoil. And that's another thing. I get it. If you're trying to tell this story of this person who's like singularly focused at all costs, but it felt just like it just felt like it lacked any nuance in a game where there was so much time to think about that kind of nuance. You know, I really would have loved to have had more to consider. Give me more to consider. But I just think the way that Ava was presenting herself, it was pretty... I don't know. I didn't really take anything from it. I don't know. How'd you guys feel about that part of this? How'd you guys feel about the story of Ava?
You haven't finished it, have you?
I have, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. I think she's contextualized a lot more towards the end. I think I identified with her in some ways, but I took it as an analogy. I took it as an analogy of when you're really depressed. Because when I'm super depressed and I get overwhelmed by messages or something, I have been in the situation where I'll get an email or a text or something. I'm like, what now? What now? I just can't deal with like this one more thing. Whereas I don't think I would ever be so doggedly fixed on a goal, like in such a way that's like, I'm a driven person, but I think even I have limits, and you know, I couldn't necessarily withdraw that much. So I agree with you in that part where it just felt like she was a little cold, because at some points, like when she would encounter some people, she'd be like quite nice, but then I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Given the ending of the game, I see what you're saying, and I could, maybe that's a way to interpret it. Mm-hmm. You know, like maybe it is her depression, and it's just sort of how it's manifesting, and that decision to climb is part of that. Could be that. Yeah, that's interesting.
But I see I understand what you mean. I think the most powerful parts of Cairn for me were the parts which I think would resonate with everyone else, which is the journey. It is the one hand, one foot in front of the other thing. It was the part where I was left alone to think about nothing but what my next limb was going to do next. And the cutscenes for me were more just like, this is a kind of brief respite between the next climb.
In a way, like, one thing I would say about the story is that it provided a very interesting framework for how to recontextualize success in video games, because typically in video games, the success of the character that we're playing is aligned to the success of the goals that we have as players. We want to kill the boss in Dark Souls because it feels good to do that. And simultaneously, we want our character to kill the boss in Dark Souls because that is their job. That is like, that's how this all works, right? I think that in Cairn, the game convinces you pretty quickly that Ava climbing this mountain is a bad idea. You shouldn't be doing this. It's not a good idea. And yet we keep climbing it. And I found myself not wanting her to succeed, because I just felt like, I mean, I don't know.
It's tough.
It is tough.
I felt the opposite.
There's certain things that happen towards the end where it's like, it's massive spoiler territory.
I just felt like always I was like, you should go back down the mountain, Ava. But I was the one with the controller in hand. I'm like, you control the buttons that you press. And so our goal alignment our goals were not aligned. Me as a player, I wanted her to stop, but at the same time, I was compelling her forward. I would put it that way.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know how you guys felt about that. Am I crazy?
I kind of felt more like, well, you cast aside everything in your life. You have no choice but to see this through now. And you're a driven person. You're gonna. So yeah, like I'm doing it with you. I'm gonna get this chick up there, no matter what. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there is a point though. I guess at any point you can just start abseiling back down. I had to do the sound effect, otherwise it's not the same. And obviously we're kind of talking in general spoilers here, but towards the end of the game, there is a moment where the game outwardly basically asks you if it is the top that you want to reach. Like, do you definitely want to go through with this?
Yeah, but that's the point. That I also thought about that that moment, because I was like, what is the function of that moment? The function of that moment is, I assume, to see a cutscene where things end and to unlock a Steam achievement. Okay.
I feel like it would have been more impactful if it was after every other cutscene. Like you were presented that choice throughout the game. Like the first time your partner calls you, or when your agent calls you about the sponsor, or your partner calls you again, or leaving at the end, it kind of felt like it's all been weighed, and I felt like I was kind of pushed in one direction because I, as a player, was like, hey, I've made it this far, I want to see the top. Whereas I feel like impactful maybe would have been.
But I disagree, because I think that regardless, it's always a pointless thing, in a sense that like it can give you that cutscene to show, oh, she walked down the mountain, but there's still more game to be played, because the mountain still is there, and you can climb it if you want to. And I think that's what's kind of interesting. Like, how could you have achieved that goal of like giving conclusion and finality to the player without them climbing the mountain? And it would be impossible to do that when they know that there is a mountain there to climb in a video game, So that was my point about that moment, that choice being kind of pointless, because you could choose it, but you're still going to reload your save and then keep going. And so that, I think, was, again, that I think it would have been more interesting to explore how that could have worked better. But that was what I took away. I think the story of Ava, I think the way she was presenting herself, I didn't find particularly compelling, because I just found it so, very one note and very kind of like sledgehammery, whereas I think that there could have been a more interesting story to tell there. But the story that I was telling in my own head about like, well, I don't want Ava to do this, but I'm making her do it. Reflecting on that, I thought was really interesting, because again, every other game, I always want my character that I'm controlling to succeed. Like I don't want Mario to not save the princess as I'm playing, but I really didn't want Ava to continue climbing that mountain.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I just feel like I was a little bit more like, you're this driven type of obsessed over this mountain person that I don't understand, that I'm just gonna like, I'm along for the ride. Let's get you up there, because I don't. It's weird too. Like I feel like they were trying to maybe say something with or like there was like a parallel that I was missing with the culture of the mountain people as well, and how they were a part of the mountain. And it was like she wanted to be a part of this mountain, but in a way where she was conquering it, not essentially living it. I don't know. Like there's so much too. Like the fact too that for me, it was her. I'm kind of like thinking out loud as I work through this, but doing it for herself, where it's like it was interesting to have the character that's like, oh, her career is already established. She won the awards. She's on Time Magazine for best climber or whatever. I like that she was just doing this one solely for her, even if it was reckless and dangerous and she shouldn't do it. But like ultimately, I like, as someone who doesn't know, I'm like, well, that's what all this climbing stuff is anyway. So this is just another one, but it's the biggest one.
Yeah, and there's mentions of her dad being a famous climber too, so that's part of it. It's like having an achievement for herself.
I also really liked all the little contextual stuff. I love the notes left behind by climbers.
Some of those were so
Some of them were so
sad.
poignant, so sad, so like well written and to the point. And I thought the culture stuff was interesting with like the little obligatory like ancient culture living in the mat. Like, you know, some games it's like oh, another this, huh? But I thought this one worked, and I actually found them interesting. And it was like how they handled their dead, and like how they adapted and lived at this mountain, and did they leave, and you know. I like that stuff. I think also, writing aside, I really liked Ava's voice actor. I thought she was good.
I think she had two. I think she had one for some of the grunts and singing, and then one for cutscene, I believe. I would have to double check.
Oh, really? Cool.
So,
Yeah, I love when she was like, I'm so over this. I'm like, I feel you. I'm right there with you.
Oh, the one when she goes, oh, come on. I'm like, yep, that's me. Because it comes back to the thing where like when you are playing on a deadline and it's like tied to like your work, your livelihood, your time in your life, that like you feel that frustration. You really do.
IMDb has 3 people listed for Ava.
3 Avas. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, she's great. They're great.
She is. It's a really special game. Like I just, you know, separate from all of our like navel gazing about. Oh, hello?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, something happened. Separate from all our like navel gazing about this stuff, like it's just a very, very special game that doesn't come along. The likes of which doesn't come along very often. You know, I don't think I played a game like this in the last few years. Like I look back on my like game of the year list for the last few years, and they're all special games in their own way. But like this one just hits a little different. It just does something to you that other games don't do. I think it's because of the simulation thing, because of its relationship to time and risk, because of its sort of introspective nature, because every single foothold and like, you know, requires some thought. There's a sort of just like a trudging monotony to it, but not in a negative way. There's just this thing that's happening
You're
honestly,
focused on it the whole time.
I miss playing it.
Yeah, I mean,
I miss how it feels to play. Why am I talking about it like it's an X?
That's right.
I just miss how it feels.
It really gave me what like Death Stranding 2 didn't. You know?
Oh, dude, completely. All right, so specifically in Death Stranding 1, when you first summit the like snow mountain.
Yes.
That's one of the more arduous treks in the whole game.
For sure.
And when I played that for the first time, by the time I got to the top, or like when I was finally on my way down, my shoes had worn out.
Yeah.
And his feet were bleeding, and my life bar was depleting, and I had no resources left.
Yes.
And I love that feeling of Death Stranding 1. And this game gave me the closest to that feeling, because exactly what you described talking about this game at the start, where you were like, all your resources were gone. You had blacked out multiple times. All your meters are low, and you finally squeeze up there. That's such a good feeling. That's such a good feeling. And this game delivered that a handful of times, like my own little stories, my own little moments.
And you can climb the mountain in so many different ways as well. Like I watched some speed runs. I'm watching these people like do in 10 minutes what took me like 5 hours.
You have speed runs already?
Oh no, absolutely. You can climb this mountain in like an hour and 26 minutes. I think I've seen as the fastest speed run. And that's like
it's a beautiful exercise though, in terms of like because like how we played it, it really simulated the feeling of climbing an entire mountain. And I think, like for me, the most important part of the playthrough was the fly through afterwards. Because after you finish it, you can load up your save and then just do a fly through. And the game does a really good job with all the data. Every single pit you put, every single time you slipped and fell, every single time you died, every time you blacked out, the kind of speed and difficulty of like where you climbed, flying through and seeing all that, and like being like, wow, here I am going up through an entire mountain, and a video game simulating me starting at the bottom and climbing up with minimal little cutscene breaks. That's awesome. That's a good feeling. That's a game.
It really is. So it's very special. And honestly, just I'd recommend it to like anyone, and I mean that. Like anyone, people who don't play games. Like you can hand this to someone who does not play video games and be like, have a go at this, see what you think. And I think because it's intuitive in its own way, there's nothing video game. There's a little bit of video gaminess with like, you know, some of the
Breath of the
survival
Wild
elements.
food. Yeah.
A little bit of that, right? But the core mechanic of foot goes here, foot goes there, hand goes there, hand goes there, push. That's it. Once you've got that, like you got it, you know? And it'd be very interesting thing. I would love to see get like a who was the guy that did the climb recently? The
Alex Honnold.
Yeah, let's just get him. This is a GameStop thing, right? Alex Honnold responds to Cairn, right? And he's just like, what?
GameStop?
Oh, so you know what I mean. GameSpot. It's a GameSpot thing where, like, you know, they had the weapons guys and they would react to things. It needs to be this guy reacting to Cairn to see what he thinks of it. He probably, I don't know if he plays video games or not. I imagine he's too busy to play video games.
Absolutely does not.
The weapons guy, by the way, you should check them out because they're over at Watch EXP right now. So
I heard that. Yeah.
My former colleagues who are killing it. I miss them dearly.
Yep. Anyway, that's Cairn. Very
God.
special. Oh, there's Jelly. She's
Cat jump scare.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
Good game.
Good game. Should we?
I've been playing. Like, Jake, what have you been playing? Because I've been playing a lot.
Yeah, you have been playing a lot. This week I dabbled in Menace. This is a new Steam game. It had massive amounts of wish lists. It is strategy, tactical, military sim. And it released in early access, had a lot of hype behind it because their previous game garnered a really dedicated fan base. And Menace is you might think it's like an XCOM, and that's the easiest way to get it across, but it's really not like that at all. It's way more into tactics and ordnance and more military simulation aspects. It feels really old school in a lot of ways, from some of the gameplay and like the way the tile sets look and stuff like that, but also to the squad commanders you can get and equip to your units. Like they all have like a cool hand-drawn like face, like a military guy or military lady, and like a little character bio. I love stuff like that. And it's detailed. There's a lot to it, like line of sight, coverage, really interesting ways that stuff kind of goes down, and how in depth it can become. Because you're commanding a couple of units, you're going through fog of war, you're encountering some enemies, you're killing them, you're doing pretty simple objectives that are honestly still early access, very repetitive, but the sheer depth of stuff that quickly starts to prop up after the first couple of hours is nuts. You fight kind of alien bug enemies and human enemies, and the human enemies, there's so much to them, with suppressing, like being suppressed, them going prone, like them riding in vehicles, and then you getting vehicles, riding your vehicles around, offloading soldiers, having weapons on those vehicles, calling in airstrikes. It's just like crazy in depth, but also has like really good sound design and really good explosions and blood and like guys getting shot up. It definitely still just feels early access though. Like, you know, it needs a real tutorial, and it kind of just gives you a wall of text, and there's so much to learn with this game. Also, yeah, not a lot of mission variety, not a lot of biome variety. There's definitely some balancing that could still be done. It's a hard game. It's a painfully difficult game. There's an Iron Man mode if you're into that. So like think of like an XCOM, but it's like you can't have in this game like one of those moments in XCOM where it's like you miss those shots. You know, like when like you see the percentage and you fire any, you literally cannot make that decision or you're fucked like once. Sure. So it's really brutal. But I definitely get it. I really don't think I'm the target audience for this one, because like reading Steam reviews, like a lot of Steam reviews are like, it's already perfect, it's the greatest game ever made, and I'm like, well, no, it's clearly still early access. Like it's very good bones. I'm not like the target audience for it, but I get it. Like playing it, I'm like, yeah, this can be very, very cool. The vibes are there, the depth is there, and I'm curious to see how it goes. It's definitely one I want to check in with like a year later, because it's cool stuff going on. Also, it does a really good like overworld thing, right? So you're essentially on this capital ship, and the capital ship is where you can spend resources and get a med bay, get armories to like develop better weapons, like all that stuff. But while you're in that, you'll also get faction stuff. Like that's where you manage all your factions. You're dealing with all these factions, but you're also getting little pop-up RPG kind of choose your own adventure things, where every time you're in there, they'll be like, Captain, A stranded ship. We found a stranded ship, and we rescued the one survivor, but he's kind of sketchy, but he knows science. Should we recruit him into the glory of the galaxy, the
Captain,
unit?
we rescued this one guy, but he's kind of lame. We don't like him much.
Right, yeah. So it's like, yeah, do we want to use him for the good of the Republic, or do we want to put him in the airlock because we don't trust him? And like there's some really good writing with stuff like that. And a lot of times you'll like choose something, and the outcome they'll always be like, great job. You made an incredible choice. You are the best leader. And like it's cool, clever, like it's got some personality. So Menace is definitely shaping up to be something for sure.
So how did you find this in the first place?
Wish list.
Just wish list, and you just took your interest?
Yeah. So for when we do before you buy videos on Game Ranks, sometimes it's culture. It's just video game. Like what are people into generally? Every once in a while it's what interests us, but a lot of the times it's also like, okay, what random game had a trailer that got a lot of views or went viral, or what game that you may have never heard about got a bajillion Steam wish lists. And in this case, it was that. Okay. So just jumped into it for that. And yeah, I get it. I get why the studio's overhype, and I get why they have a fan base, especially doing more research on their previous game, which the name escapes me right now, but it was more of like a medieval tactics strategy game. That was from like 2016, 2017. So they've been at this for a while. And that game was another one where it was like this fine-tuned sim tactics game that you could play forever. So it seems like Menace is like the next generation of that, with a cool sci-fi, kind of vaguely Helldivers flair to it.
The Jean-Luc Picard, the original series. He said next generation.
Oh, you're talking about the Picard show?
Picard to like a Kirk.
I get it.
Yeah.
Star Trek, huh? Data. I like Data. I'm more of a Data guy. Data was the GOAT.
He was next generation, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was.
Yeah. My mom was a big Star Trek. Still is, actually.
That's cool. Cool mom.
Well, today she sent me an AI video. So,
That's what they do now.
Is this real? Tell me if this is real.
Have you seen this?
No, wait. I put this. I put it on my close friends, which you guys are both on. My mom texted me. And then I'm just talking about it on our podcast. But my mom texted me like a YouTube short, and then like a minute later texted me, "Do you like coconut milk?" Then 25 minutes after that, she texted me another YouTube short. The follow-up a minute later was, "Do you use deodorant? This is very interesting."
God bless.
That's great.
Bless.
Okay, what I've been playing. I've been playing a bunch of little bits. Okay, so I started playing TR-49, which is very much my shit.
Yes.
The Enigma machine
For sure.
meets
The Enigma machine.
Obra-Dinn-ish Her Story detective game by Inkle, who did 80 Days. I'm really enjoying it now that I'm getting into it. I think it's very well voice acted. In terms of a puzzle game, it is really scratching that itch for me. I'm really enjoying it. But I think the tutorialization was something that took me a real second to get to grips with. Even though there's a button in there that you can talk to someone who's kind of on the other end of the phone to you, even though that person's there, I felt like he wasn't exactly guiding me fully into what I was supposed to be doing. And so I think the ramp up was a little trickier for me. Maybe I'm an idiot, who knows? But I think if I hadn't pushed myself to stick through it, I would have dropped off it. So I'm now getting to the stage where I'm making connections. I'm finding new names and new things, new ways that people are, new secrets, let's say. And I'm getting to the point where I was like, yeah, everything is unraveling. I'm really enjoying this. So that's TR-49. I'm very early in still.
Cool visual style. I love it.
Yes. Bloodletter is a really cool demo that I played. I've just been kind of going through my Steam and like stuff that I've had downloaded and haven't had a chance to get to. Bloodletter is a card battler game where you play. It's medieval, or it's like Middle Ages period. So very beautiful, very stylized art style. And between every round, you are a doctor a doctor as much as they were back in those days. And you basically have to heal the population, but also restore their faith, because in between, like during the day and then at night, something called the entity comes and saps away their health, makes them distrust you, and saps away their faith. So what you have to do is, by building a deck of cards and using these cards per turn in each round, you build their faith, and if you get enough faith, you basically pull like a blood gem out of the entity, and then if you get a certain number of those, you defeat it. Really enjoyed the demo of that one.
This looks cool as hell.
I'm not really one for card games
neither.
too much, but this had a really fun like narrative twist, and by the end of, you know, kind of getting to that stage where it's like, I know I only have to get this much more faith or whatever, and but everyone was distrusting me, which has negative side effects. It means that you can only play 2 cards instead of 3. It became a really fun like battle within my own brain to see if I could figure out this how to do it ahead of time. So enjoyed that. Mixtape, there was an event for it last week. We played it last year at Summer Game Fest.
Same build.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
I'm so excited to play Mixtape. Hozy. Sorry, my cat just made a noise as if that she was going to throw up. Hozy, it's basically
Is it cozy or posy?
It's Hozy.
Hozy, right? No, neither of those. Hosey?
Hozy.
Hozy. Okay, Hozy.
So
okay, cool.
it's a game that's kind of like an unpacking without the narrative. Well, there is a narrative in there, but I didn't get to experience too much of it.
Okay.
Unpacking meets a little bit of power wash sim, like the satisfaction of cleaning up.
Sure.
With the the Sims 4, if it let you have this amount of adjustment when you are placing items without using mods or that kind of thing. So it's interesting.
Nice.
I played the playtest.
Gorgeous.
It was
I like
pleasant.
it. I like the art style. Oh wow, there's like a weird hoarder level here, which is okay, sure. There's lots of weird stuff going on here. All right, cool. All right.
The one thing I would say about Hozy is that it desperately needs a click. You need to be able to not hold and drag. Like you need to just be able to click it and just leave it, because my repetitive strain injury was not having a fun time by the end of it.
Sure.
The one game I want to talk about though is the one that Chris Plant alluded to last time he was on the show.
Are you allowed to mention it now?
Boys.
I got that. So I wasn't clear. It wasn't clear to me in that email whether we were allowed to talk about it or not.
I've got the email open.
Have they even announced it? Have they announced that it exists?
Announced.
It is announced.
It's announced. And it says, if you do try the game and want to talk about it, that's more than okay.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm covered.
Cool. All right, good. All right.
Also, I've seen people post about it.
Okay, good.
Titanium Court. I immediately, as soon as Chris was like, I've been playing something I think is amazing, I immediately messaged him and I was like, what have you been playing? Titanium Court. It is by AP Thompson, who most recently worked on Consume Me.
Okay.
Previous game as well, Fortune 499. Titanium Court, it also picked up a ton of like GDC award nominations, which is kind of a bastion of quality that I look to, specifically the IGD Independent Game Festival Awards, those ones. It is a match 3 game, but not really. It's also a tactical game. It is also hilarious. And I don't know how to describe what it is, but you're essentially in some sort of fairy kingdom and you're constantly at war. You are thrown into it's up to you to figure it out. And by combining, like matching 3, you basically rearrange what the battlefield looks like. And then in between rounds, you then get to, so either you send, like you have a knight who is going to guard your base, or you'll have soldiers who will go out and find the next closest enemy base and take that out, or you'll have a farmer who'll go get food for you. And of course you need food to feed your army. So you do have to have this sort of push and pull with attacking and defending and making sure that you're stocked up. It is so funny. It is weirdly
weird.
It's meta. It's weird.
I don't get that from this. It just looks like a calculator game. Like,
but it's not.
I see baseball and I see like a seesaw, and then you're describing like knights and kings and Like, and then there's this guy who looks like kind of like a Wojak guy in the thumbnail.
Yep. There's like, don't know how to describe it, but I feel like it is going to be your favorite game developer's favorite game this year.
Sure.
That is the vibe of everyone who I've seen talking about it, who has played it as part of judging, the way that even they're dealing with like giving codes out and stuff about it. The way that I got extra codes for friends was like, in the middle of the demo, there's a guy you can talk to, and he basically goes, "Hey man, you want some of this?" Yeah, and you scan a QR code, and it emails you out more demo codes to pass on. It's really
Oh, that's cool.
I had a big smile on my face the whole time I was playing it. I don't know what the hell this is. I loved it.
Yeah, interesting.
I just played the demo.
All right.
Okay, cool. No, I have the demo installed, and I've been after that endorsement from Chris, I was really keen to check it out. But yeah, I'll have to expedite that now because that sounds too good. That sounds too good to ignore for sure. It sounds great. Yeah.
That's all I've been playing. Just like a lot of smaller things, either demos or because I was sick earlier this week, so I just sat and felt sorry for myself most of the time.
Excellent.
That's the healing process, yeah.
The healing process. But anyway, we have, before we get to show and tell, we do have another interview, a quick one with Tarsier, who you might know as the creators of Little Nightmares. They have a brand new game coming out this week, which is Reanimal. Roll the tape.
This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh, and man, nothing hits like home cooking. HelloFresh makes it easy to do more of it this year in 2026 with recipes that feel good and taste delicious night after night. And I know I was going to say friend of the show, but you're not a friend of the show. You are the show. Lucy James is a big user, a big consumer of HelloFresh. What have you been eating lately, and how's it been working for you?
I love HelloFresh. I mean, I talk about like the fact that it's given me so much confidence, like to not only try new foods, but also like new recipes and new ways of cooking and ingredients that I normally would walk past in the supermarket because I'd be too intimidated by it. They have such a wide and variety in their menu. Recently, and I mean, my mouth is watering just thinking about it, I had a really good pork dish, which had a beautiful sauce, and it came with some pasta. And man, I was so happy because I got to have some for my lunch the next day too. And I was like, yes, I get to extend how much my enjoyment of this. It's difficult also. I'm trying to eat more protein, but there are more than 35 high protein recipes each week now, including like from Mediterranean, GLP-1 friendly, and it's sustainably sourced seafood, and it's 100% antibiotic and hormone-free chicken. So I actually, kind of feel better about it when I'm eating it.
It's good stuff. And like the amount of choice and variety is huge, right? Like more than 100 recipes every week that you can choose from. So you can get a box. And then again, the other thing is you're not worrying about like buying too many groceries, or sometimes you buy groceries and then you don't use them all and then they go bad. HelloFresh sends you exactly what you need, and they set you up for success, whether you're a champion cook or not. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yep. And there's stuff with seasonal produce like pears, apples, and asparagus, like all my faves around this time. So I'm stoked.
Big asparagus guy. Huge.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just for the record. HelloFresh. Hook me up. Send me more.
Well, because when dinner tastes this good, nothing hits like home cooking. So go to hellofresh.com/FPS10FM to get 10 free meals and a free Zwilling knife, which is $144.99 value. That's really good. Like, it's really important to have good knives on your third box. So that offer is valid while supplies last. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. And it's new subscribers only, and it varies by plan. So that is hellofresh.com/FPS10FM to get your 10 free meals and a free knife. Thank you again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode.
We are now joined by Oliver Merlöv, CEO of Tarsier Studios. Oliver, thanks for joining us. The first thing I definitely want to ask is the game is dropping soon when we're recording this. Reviews have dropped. People are liking the game. How are you and the team over there feeling?
Yeah, first, thanks for having me. I think we're happy, relieved, nervous, yeah, I think it's a lot of emotions that go through both shipping a game, but also seeing the reviews and I mean, we've seen a lot of anticipation before the reviews started, but it's both. Of course, you're happy that it's mostly well received, but this is also a game. I mean, we're super proud and we're super happy with where it ended up. But we're also not doing games for everyone. So we're also like, there's also people that feel like, but this is maybe not for me, and that's also fine. We're not pushing it on anyone. So, yeah.
So who would you say you're making games for? Like, who would you say is the sort of target market for a Tarsier game?
So this is a small studio, and we've been around the block for 20 years. And I don't think we have ever done analysis of our target group or something like that. To be honest,
I like it, man. I
think, but I'm not saying that's a good thing. But that's a bit who we are, right? So we like to make these games with, as a small studio. I think we quickly decided that it has to be something that we genuinely feel proud of and like doing, and that we also can do to as high quality as we can as a small team. And then this started to grow on us already, like first concepts in the early days of this history and so on. So I think that's what's guiding us, and it's a small team, but it's also very diverse when it comes to taste and ideas and so on, and that kind of melds together in a good pot, and then we're but I think when there is some data on things and that we're happy about. It's like there's a following from like Tarsier games. There's a following from like the world that we created around Little Nightmares. There's some following from earlier days as well. And it's very interesting to see that the following is not a very strict, easy to define group. It's across gender, it's across nationality, it's across culture, and I think that makes us happy at least. But yeah.
So when you say small studio, how small are we talking? How many people is Tarsier?
We're around 60 people altogether.
60. Okay, yeah, right. And how long has that group of people, like the critical mass of that group of people, been together? Has it been 10 plus years, like working all the way through Little Nightmares? Has it been sort of a fair amount of rotation and stuff?
I mean, there has been. I've been here for 5 years, a bit more now. And we're in Malmö, where there's a lot of game studios. So a lot of people come to this small city to develop games. So there's pretty big parts of the studio that's been here. It doesn't sound like a short time, but when we say like less than 10 years, or like me and so on, there's also people that were here when it started and joined in the early days. So I think it's a pretty good mix. That it's a bit new energy and a bit new ideas, coupled with this strong DNA that we have from even founders that are still at the company, and so I think it's a mix of that. And,
And I'm really curious. Sorry, Jack, I do have one more question. I'm sorry I'm hogging so much stuff, but I'm really curious, and you've probably answered this elsewhere in other interviews, but the decision to make Reanimal as a spiritual successor to Little Nightmares, well, I don't even know if you'd call it that. I'm not sure if you would or not. I don't know. But obviously, it's a very similar type of game in many aspects. And so you were making Little Nightmares, and then you decided, okay, we need to do something else for ourselves, and it's going to be this type of game. I was just curious about why that decision happened. Like, why did you decide to move on to Little Nightmares? Why did you decide to move on to Reanimal?
I mean, the first part of the question is that when after we did Little Nightmares 2, and around that time, we became part of the Embracer group. We were not that before. And as part of that, we didn't own the IP of Little Nightmares. So we had a lot of great years together with Bandai Namco to work on Little Nightmares. But after that, we were, I think we worked on that for a long time, and we like to create worlds, at least new worlds, and we had new ideas. But the moment Little Nightmares 2 dropped, we didn't have a plan. So it was like, okay, so what do we do now? So what's the strategy now? And a lot of the thinking was like, let's do something completely different. So for a pretty long period, we were a bit in an identity crisis. I think we tried out a lot of different things. Let's move away from this. Let's move away from this. And let's not do anything that has anything similarity to Little Nightmares. And then we tried out a bunch of things. And then you start to, it's hard sometimes to be very good at analyzing what is good and bad in the early stages. So we started to play by ear, and that's okay. But this feels good, right? This thing we can do well, and this kind of environment we can do well, and then those ideas started to meld together. We would like to make we like that you play as some form of a. You're not kids in that sense in Reanimal. You're young youths, but it's still kid.
Sure.
That thing. So that way to build drama and tension and horror. I mean, it's a classic thing also in books and movies, and how you can play with that and still have horror without all the gore and so on. I think we love those games as well, but I don't think we should do them. But so I think that all melded together, and then pretty early on, it's like, if we're gonna do something like this, we want to tell a different type of story, a darker story, more grounded in realism, and I think that coupled with when we started to see things come together of like, but what if you could also play in co-op? What happens then? What happens with players, and what's the experience? How is that different from playing single player? And then we looked at like reviews of earlier games, and you see people are playing co-op by sharing the controller. Yes. But you also see a lot of people like, but I also want to play this alone because this is my time and my experience. So I think it was a lot of things that came together, and then we had a bunch of concepts, and then but this started to feel well with us and the staff and so on, and then it evolved from there. And then it's like, you're a small studio, right? So you have these artists that have this style, and then you have these designers that likes these kind of games, and it's like, we could do a different game, but you would probably recognize at least the style anyway. Okay, that's the Tarsier style that's happening here.
Animals specifically, I would love to know where the idea came to do weird, freakish animals. How did that come about? Was that like a first draft, or did that come later?
So I think the idea of the world started to come together pretty early, about the pretty grim world and so on, and then how we do our process of making monsters and the design of the world is also very organic. So we draw stuff, and people draw stuff and have ideas, and some are inspired by a movie they saw or a game or a book they read and something. And then that also starts to come together. But how could this fit? What if we take some parts of that in with that part, and then these monsters and animals started to be created. And then we played with that, and it took a while until we started to think about what should this game be called. And that's a bit of play of words, right? And people will do their own interpretation into it. So we don't want to like put this is what it means, but it is about animal, but humans are also animals, and especially under grim circumstances, those sides of us come to light a lot more. So I think it's a mix of that. So
yeah, I was going to say, just on that point of like horror, I think the studio has a very like notable signature when it comes to the way that you conceive of horror, and you know, that's sort of visually and tonally and whatever else. And I just wonder, like, what are the sort of foundations or pillars of that as you guys see them? Like, when you're trying to design something and trying to design something horrific, like, how are you thinking about it? What are you working towards when you're doing that?
I mean, I think it comes from all the different. I think we're lucky in that sense that it's all the different inspirational media, you would say, that we have consumed and still consume. I mean, we can in the same meeting talk about, for the same scene, reference Silent Hill and Twin Peaks for the same scene. So it's that there is no real. We're really. I think if you work at Tarsier, you have a feeling for what that Tarsier taste is. But I think this is a thing we're not that. We don't have like a blueprint. Like here, so when you join Tarsier, here's a staff manual and here's a one page of this is a Tarsier style. I think we could maybe be a bit more, but it's. I think that's part of the strength that we get together and then some things just feel right. And we have like made games that are way less known. We made a VR game, Static, a while back. It's completely different, but it's also like but it's still the strange, goofy. It's not so much horror, but it's still a bit Tarsier tone to it, and so I think that's where we somehow find that, and I don't really know exactly how. Actually, I don't know if anyone at Tarsier knows. I think it's
you just kind of feel it.
It's us together, and then over time, some people have left, and some new people have come in, and then that has bred some new light into some of the discussions, and then
I'd love to know more about the decision process around co-op and going couch co-op specifically. Really been enjoying playing that way. I'd love to know if you have any insight about why you guys finally made the jump to it. And I mean, like it's a great thing right now. Like you know, It Takes Two, Split Fiction, things like that. And now you guys are giving your own spin on co-op.
I think pretty early on in the development, we had this history of seeing Little Nightmares being played by two. And also people believing that Little Nightmares 2 was a co-op game because there was a companion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that idea we had a bit, but we never really built anything around it. We had no prototypes or anything. So it was just discussions at that point. And at some early stage of the development, co-op was starting to, it kind of died off for a bunch of years. There wasn't much co-op. If it was like super fun party games that was co-op, like Overcooked and stuff like that. Hilariously fun. But and then came It Takes Two, and as the co-op started to be talked about, and we started to test a bit. And then I think we didn't do that many like play tests and like, oh, let's bring people in and test and so on. But we tested ourselves, and then it was also the idea about, since our games are so partly cinematic in a sense that it's a world we draw people into that experience and so on. The similarity to watching a horror movie alone or with a friend or a partner, that it's the same movie, but it is a very different experience compared to other types of movies or games as well, right?
True.
So then we started to play around with it, and I think couch co-op was the first choice. And then after discussions, like, no, we also know that people want to play with friends that can't be at their couch, so let's also support online co-op. But we also know that also a lot of us and others also enjoy to play on their own. So
was it a massive pain in the ass to get the AI companion stuff working right? Because I'm going to assume that that's tough. Like, I'm going to assume that's not easy.
We should invite some of our level designers and programmers to the interview and ask them. No, it's one of the things that I think we pull it off, but it's not easy at all, because it's the balance you have, and when we do games, you could always say that, okay, now it feels like you could have do more stuff in the game, and it's like, but then you break the tension. And what is that perfect balance? And I think we hit that sometimes, maybe not all the time. That's hard, but and then doing co-op, and then having a companion that also helps you out. I think the hardest thing was, if I'm just talking making games and development process in a small team, is that every level you build, every new idea you build, you need to test it with a companion, and then couch co-op, and then online co-op. And that it slows down a bit, but it also, you can have a great idea that you think works perfectly in co-op, couch co-op, and that requires a lot from both players. But it's like, but we can't build a companion that's going to take ages, that can also take all of those cool decisions on and figure that out. So I think that's but for the sake of the game and the story, we still felt that we needed a companion because it is an important part of the whole experience. So yeah, we took the pain, and I think it's worth it.
I found it's worked pretty well for me as in my playthrough. I haven't got any major complaints. I've certainly played some games where the AI companion is insufferable, and I've had a positive experience here. So I think the team's done a good job with it. Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to play couch co-op, though. I actually would love to do that. So I'm kind of jealous of Jake.
So far, so good. I'm playing with my wife, and it's been great. It's been fun to play with somebody who's casual and doesn't really understand stealth in video games, and having to like walk them through that process. Have you guys? How did it go with finding that line in terms of challenge? Because you have a lot of hardcore gamers coming from Little Nightmares, but then now that you have co-op, maybe more casual players are getting. So were there moments where you had Reanimal as an intense, sweaty, challenging game? Like, how'd you find that line?
It's hard because we want to be accessible as well. And that was the same thing with Little Nightmares 1 and 2. So you want there to be that challenge, but it's we playtest a lot and we discuss a lot, and I think we have probably removed content for at least one more game. Not
really.
It's not ready to be part of a game, but that's our process. It takes us a long time to get to a point where we know if this is going to work or not.
Okay.
In some development process, you build that gameplay logic, and it's like, this is going to work. Now let's dress it up. I simplify it a bit, but for us, every part of the game, everything has to have a meaning and earn its place in the game. And you don't see that until everything starts to come together. And then it could be that this can look really good and so on, but it's too easy. It becomes too boring. Or now this is way too hard, and it's going to be too hard to dial that down, because then it loses its meaning. So I think it is a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of discussions and testing and throwing away and trying again.
Yeah, right. So obviously the game is launching tomorrow on our clock. Yep. And obviously the reviews have been great. You're looking at wish lists and that sort of stuff, and are you feeling confident and comfortable with how things are looking?
Today it feels comfortable, but
okay.
I think making games are so complex, so you have to learn to not worry about things you can't control. Sure. So I think we've done everything we could, and I think we've been trying to be clear on the message to people what kind of game this is.
Yeah.
Wishes numbers are really good. We're super happy with those. And then the actual outcome we will see. But it's also, we hope that we will see the same thing as with Little Nightmares 2. Not only like the first impressions and the first wave of players that are starting to enjoy it, but they're also like they're standing the test of time a bit. So there's a lot of new players that are coming into Little Nightmares 1 and 2 and have been for a while, right? So I think we're, I don't know the latest figure, but it's past 12 million copies for Little Nightmares 1 and 2.
Wow.
The copy you buy today is very cheap, of course, but it's still, if we forget about the business side of it, it's still that it doesn't lose its touch, or it's still an interesting experience, and we hope we get can see that same evolution with Reanimal, I think.
Yeah.
And I know that it's early, and but are you guys looking at Reanimal as this one-off beautiful piece or a bigger franchise? Like, how are you guys feeling about it?
I think we have no real clue, actually.
Okay.
I'm just being honest. I mean, there are of course ideas like, should we expand on this? And we decided pretty early that we felt that there was more things we wanted to tell in Reanimal, so that's why we planned in to start to have DLCs on this game.
Cool.
It's not the continuation of the story that's the main game. It's a different story. But it's in the same world and setting, and it's still Reanimal. So we felt that there were more we wanted to say and do for the game. What we will do next, I think we need to just enjoy tomorrow and the coming weeks, and then because one thing is that you spend the battery of everything that needed to ship a game, but you also spend the creative battery, and that also needs a bit recharge to come up. Like what do we think could be a great next game that we would like to work on for many years and still have the passion for, and so on. And there's a bunch of ideas, but we haven't had any real time to really sit down and with a cup of coffee slowly talking about them and brewing on them and so on. So I think that's ahead of us.
Wow, you make that game development process right there sound so relaxing.
I know, it's so true.
Nice
Usually game devs are like, God, it's hell, man. It's the worst. We're killing ourselves out here. And you're like, yeah, just going to sit back, have a coffee, think about it a bit, but we'll do that later. It's nice.
Someone once asked me, I got the question a few times, like, but how do you make games? It's like, you've been in the industry for a while. What's the process? How do you make them? Can you explain it? And then I talked to another colleague of mine. It's like, how do I answer that? It's like, just be honest. We don't know. We just get good people together, and then you play the game a lot, and you discuss it a lot, and then there's some process around it that it needs to go through some hoops because you know that those help you a bit. But I think that's I simplify it a bit. But we don't sit with a magic book at Tarsier like this is how you make games, and then.
Well, you feel like masters of it, definitely. We're loving the game so far.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the game.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Oh, that's a good one.
You guys are pushing it out. I don't like it.
All right.
All right. What have you been up to that hasn't been... Wait, Ralph, did you watch The Prestige?
I did.
All right.
I did.
Haven't seen that one in a long time.
We had a double movie night. We watched The Prestige. Immediate thoughts. Hugh Jackman. He really knows how to carry a film, man. He's just got it. He's just on screen. You just want to watch him. He's just got it. It's fantastic. It's a story of a couple of jerks who are just going at it. It's so weird when all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson's in this movie. Oh yeah, David Bowie's in this movie.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
just full of all these, and like, oh, Andy Serkis is in this movie. You know,
friend of the show, Andy Serkis.
Friend of the show. That's right. We go way back. But it was really interesting to watch because after watching The Following, which is Nolan's like first movie, which is kind of art housey student film, and then Memento, and then Insomnia, which were kind of like quite similar. They're sort of gritty, you know, crime noir-esque sort of psychological thriller sort of things. And this is the first like Nolan-esque Nolan film. This is where like he establishes his style with like his musical choices and the way he frames things and his sort of like little twists in certain moments, and just the whole thing feels Nolan. And it feels like after this, because you've got like Interstellar and Inception, and even like Tenet to an extent, whatever, they'll kind of just feel similar in their own ways. But it still holds up, man. It's still a very watchable movie. I loved it. It was fantastic.
Do you think he tied the knot?
No, of course he knows.
The Langford double.
There was no. It was also weird seeing Christian Bale like leaning into the British accent. Like he doesn't really, because he usually just hides it. And you know,
because he's Welsh, isn't he, Christian Bale?
I don't know where he's from.
I think he's Welsh.
Yeah. So it's nice to see him sink into that. But no, really nice. Also watched Sinners.
Ooh,
yeah.
Never seen before.
That's a good time.
It is a good time. I had no idea what it was before going into it. Like literally, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, there are two Michael B. Jordans in this movie. Like that's as I like the first, like that's how little I knew about it. Right? I was like, oh, there are two of them for some reason. Okay.
No, there are two of them. Sorry, too much Star Wars.
And it's a weird film. It feels very kind of disjointed, and like I was really kind of like trying to, because it just goes from being like an interesting sort of period, like historical period piece about like, you know, the Deep South and like black exploitation and cotton farming and all this sort of stuff, and like, you know, racial inequality, what have you, and all of a sudden vampires, you know? But there's a really interesting moment in it, which is kind of like, yeah, don't be a black slave anymore. Come be like a vampire and we just live forever and we just rule everyone. Like, that sounds pretty cool. And I was like, oh, that's a really interesting way to, because it was kind of like, they were kind of presenting vampires, like being a vampire as a way to escape oppression. You know what I mean? And I kind of never really thought of it like that before. I've never seen it used in quite that way. So I really liked it. I think at first I kind of just sat there at the end being like, huh, okay. But the more I thought about it, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. And especially the music. I really loved the music and the musical numbers and its range of music that it was using at different times. I was just into it, man. So not like my favorite film ever, but I look back on it being like, I've never seen anything quite like that. It was weird, but I just liked the feeling of it as I was going through it. And
I like that it feels like a graphic novel. Like, I was just like, is this a graphic
True.
novel? Like, it's hard to explain, but it's
Very
just like
true.
conceptually, like, the whole
no,
thing.
absolutely. I never even thought about that shit. Yeah, totally. Yeah, because it seems to have those sort of like the certain framings and certain scenes, the way it tucks away, like pulls away from certain moments and frames a moment and then swings wildly to something else straight after that. And it's like grotesque violence that just appears out of nowhere versus, you know, a normal scene that just, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's very true. Yeah. So, I don't know. I was into it.
Creative, really creative, good vampire shit. And like, what if like how people would deal with like the vampire rules and like letting a vampire in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like they were like scary, like haunted Irish immigrant vampires, and he'd go, Sammy. I thought that was like the coolest thing. I thought he was like a really good vampire villain.
He was actually, yeah. No, I was into it, and I'm just into anything Michael B. Jordan as well. I just think he always crushes it.
Fantastic
so-
Four.
He's an incredible actor. I love him.
Yeah, like he's just presence and delivery and everything, man. He was just
And a
he's
big
just awesome.
anime guy.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh,
is
is that
a
his thing,
is it?
big anime guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Creed
That's
3,
how,
which he directed, is like basically a lot of like shot for shot anime, like crazy shit with the fights.
Okay.
It's so cool.
Because he was in Rooster Teeth's like Genlock thing. Yeah, he's in Rooster Teeth something anime adjacent.
Okay,
I can't remember.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that was me. That's what I watched.
Jake, what you been up to?
Dare I go first?
Please.
So I was pretty MIA in the Discord the last 2 weeks, if you guys noticed. Partially
We
because I
did.
was sick, but also because I was busy. I took up a second job with Pretty Much It, the old YouTube channel I used to collaborate with.
Sure.
I watched every single Resident Evil movie in the span of like a handful of days.
Great.
Yes.
It
Okay,
was
talk us through it.
brutal.
What? I genuinely think 1 and 2 are fun.
First of all, how many
Yes.
are there now? How many are there?
It's they get so bad I can't even tell you. Resident Evil movies. There are six Paul W.S. Anderson ones, I believe. 6. Yeah. Right?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
7.
6.
I see.
So then, so there's 6 by Paul W.S. Anderson
Okay.
and Mila Jovovich. Those are just like complete bullshit. But the first one had charm, right? Because the first one was like, oh my god, they're making a video game movie.
She's
And
wearing
it
a
was-
red dress. Oh my god.
She's wearing a dread. She's so hot. It's so cool. They mentioned Nemesis at the end. Wow. But Michelle Rodriguez. Wow. It's the 2000s. Like,
so true.
but it's so funny because it's like definitely a movie where they had a script for something else, and they're like, well, we have this IP. Slap it on that.
Yeah.
But it turned out weirdly interesting. It's kind of dull, but it had a cool ending. The ending was like, whoa, all right, here we go. And then the second one is basically like Raccoon City Chaos, and the Nemesis shows up. And she has like a kung fu fight with the Nemesis because she got
Right.
superpowers. Cool. Awesome. Then after that, it kind of like, then the one after that becomes essentially like a bootleg Book of Eli.
Vegas for some reason.
Vegas for some reason. Then one of them is all on a green screen and they're like underground, and they bring Barry Burton and Leon Kennedy for no all of them just
Wait, who
inexplicably
plays Leon?
guy,
what?
some man, guy man. is his name, and he looks ridiculous. It's awful. It looks like porn parody, like Leon. It's so funny, but they
Wentworth Miller is Chris Redfield.
Wentworth of Prison Break fame, yes, is Chris Redfield, and he's like Chris Redfield in pajamas, and he's doing a voice, and then he just doesn't show up in the next movie. The movies cherry pick like a fever dream, where it's like clearly nobody played the games, and they just look for iconic things, because Jill Valentine is Resident Evil 3 Jill Valentine in the second one. Then she inexplicably shows back up in like the fifth one, and she looks exactly like she did in Resident Evil 5 with the blonde hair and the mind control device for no reason at all.
Can I tell you why she wasn't in Resident Evil 3, the movie?
Why?
I hate that I know this, is because Sienna Gilroy, who plays Jill Valentine, was already cast to be in Aragon, that dragon movie instead.
Oh, wow.
So she contractually had to do that instead of the other Resident Evil.
It just feels to me, so Paul W.S. Anderson, whose name is like search engine optimized to search a better director, like it's his name, it's like a keyworded name. So good
directors near me.
Yeah, so he produces, he's written and directed a lot of them, and then his wife is Milla Jovovich. And to me, the entire franchise, which every single one made a ton of money, but that aside, they feel like weird rich people, like kink Ponzi schemes. I don't know, there's something about them that just feels like these weird, insane vanity projects with she has superpowers in one, then in another one she doesn't, then in another one there's 80 clones of her for no reason. And these movies do this insane thing where every single one ends on like a crazy scene where it's like she's on a mountain with two swords and the army is rushing in, and you're like, holy shit, this is gonna be big. And every single movie has one of those at the end, and the next movie goes out of its way to avoid that ever happening. And it is the most maddening, insane thing I have ever seen. Right. Ever seen. There's one where it ends on she's on like an oil tanker, and it's her and a bunch of people she broke out of prison, and 1,000 umbrella helicopters are flying in with umbrella soldiers ready for a big battle. The next movie just pretends it didn't even happen. It is crazy. These movies are insane, but people love them.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I'm on his Wikipedia and I'm looking at the cost per profit on every one of his movies.
Oh, it's
and
crazy.
Like, yeah, it's yeah. Also, this
people
man is from Newcastle. He's from Wall's End. And
Damn.
he went to the same school that a bunch of my friends went to.
That's crazy. He's a
homegrown hero.
He's a homegrown maniac. And the movies also do this. It's so cynical because it's like they caught on that people love the umbrella logo. It's so cool. Let's put a sticker of it on our car. Like, people are into that. These movies show the umbrella logo an insane amount of times, where the Resident Evil game franchise barely does. Umbrella is everywhere in this, and it makes no sense. Also, after watching all 6 of those weird, bizarre movies, the next movie, the low budget reboot, Welcome to Raccoon City, it feels like an oasis. It feels like finding an oasis in a desert. And I shit on that movie when it came out, and having now watched in the span of like 2-3 days every single Resident Evil movie, and then that one, I was like, it's actually not that bad, you know?
Is it possible your standards have just been lowered to such an absurd level that like you're drinking the sand?
My brain has been, mushed into a pulp watching 8,000 CGI Milla Jovovich clones kung fu fighting, doing Blade Trinity moves. Also, there's a point where the movies try and just become Underworld, and she's basically dressed like the main character from Underworld for no reason. It's insane.
Oh my God.
Insane. Don't watch them.
Well,
no. I plan to watch them, actually. I've been waiting.
It's fun. It's a trip.
They're not on 4K, are they? I don't think they've been released on 4K.
You don't want them on 4K.
No, I definitely do. I just bought the Transformers box set, man. I'm like, how low can we go? Let's go.
Half of them are in like 3D, back when 3D was like a thing. So it's like
that's right.
Every once in a while someone will just go, whoa. Also, it felt like at a point the movies were like, I think it was like the Silent Hill movie came out, and then they were like, oh, we need a pyramid head. Who are we going to get as a Pyramid Head in our movies? How about that random big hammer enemy from Resident Evil 5? Yeah, that'll work. And they put him in 2 movies. Again, like the things that they've cherry-picked make no sense.
Nice.
I remember watching one of them in the cinema. It could have been 3 or 4, and just thinking, Mila Jovovich is like airbrushed to shit, like face tuned to shit.
So there's a thing, and we Googled it afterwards. Ooh. In the 3rd one, Resident Evil Extinction, the desert one,
the Vegas one,
there are random and it's through the whole movie, so it's not reshoots. It's consistently throughout the whole movie. Anytime there is like a closer shot of her, she has a skin smoothing filter over her face. She doesn't need it. Like, she does not need it. Like. And it's so, and we were watching the movie thinking we were going crazy. We're like, is this because we watched 3 in a row? But it's a real thing. I looked it up and other people were like, why is this in the movie? Yeah. And there's no answer.
Bizarre. Huh. Well,
hopefully the new one's good. Good luck, Zach Kreger. Hopefully it's better.
From the Whitest Kids You Know and of Weapons and Barbarian.
Which I loved. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Very quickly, I read Keza McDonald's book, which is about Nintendo, which I found very fun and insightful. Cool. Keza is games editor at The Guardian, a longtime friend of mine. Used to be at IGN, Kotaku, and she wrote a book about Nintendo through the lens of each of its major franchises. So there'll be a whole chapter on Mario, a chapter on, like Splatoon and everything, and it kind of goes through the formation of Nintendo as a video game company and how the magic was basically sown and the key creatives who brought all the games to life. I really enjoyed it. Very breezy read. And nice. Did have some things in there that I didn't know, which was very nice. Fun.
What's it called?
Super Nintendo.
Right.
Like Keza McDonald's.
Okay,
easy.
Right.
So it kicks off essentially once they pivot to like being a game and software company.
So, she provides like the basic backstory about what Nintendo as a company was and the how and why they got involved in video games and creating, like breaking into that market, early successes, early failures, that kind of thing. And then he hires like people like Miyamoto and Iwata and whoever and bringing in and just investing in fun.
That's cool.
Investing in fun.
Do you know how long she worked on it? That sounds like really intensive.
I don't know. I feel like a couple of years. I feel like
It's surprising how many journalists that we know are actually like writing books in the background.
Yeah.
Like most of the journalists that used to be game journalists, you speak to them and like have a beer or whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, I've been working on this book for the last 4 years. You're like, what? You're like, yeah, I'm taking a month off to travel to Japan next month to do this thing. I'm like, oh wow, cool. I like how to have time for any of that, man. I'm like, I got to record a 2-hour podcast next week. I'm fucked, man.
Yeah.
How do I squeeze that in, right?
Yeah. Books for me.
Yeah.
And then in terms of other books, I am halfway through Babel or the Necessity of Violence by R.F. Kuang, and it is great. I'm really enjoying it. It is essentially how do you even begin? The entire economy, it's based in the 1800s at Oxford University, and basically the entire economy and the riches of the British Empire are based upon silver, which is can be used essentially for magic. It can be used for magic because there's something about silver and something about translation. So it puts one word from one language and one word from the other language. And when someone who speaks those 2 languages fluently says the words, the meaning that's described in the translation between the words is a kind of magic. And so these match pairs have different effects. And so this is a very, very elitist college where they only take people who are completely fluent in 2 languages. Like you dream in the other language, you think in the other language. And so at the beginning, it's kind of like when they get to Oxford, it's like, oh, it's this, it's just this fun. It's these kids and the cusp of their lives and they're having a nice adventure at school. But really the whole book is actually, a very damning critique about colonialism, imperialism, why Britain is hoarding the resources and why these people under the safety net of Babel, which is this, this tower, of course, this college within Oxford, feel like it's them opening their eyes to their role in everything. And I'm halfway through it and I'm really enjoying it. I really recommend it.
It's crazy.
Nice.
Like,
Crazy
yeah.
concept.
That's
very,
like 9.
very-
That's book number 9 for the year.
I think it could be 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Okay.
I
Impressive.
am slowing down with this one just because I think it's a little more like it's much more dense and it's a bit longer. And also I have been sick, so I haven't been commuting in. So that's 40 minutes of reading time I'm losing every day.
It's precious, yeah.
40-minute commute. That's serious business. So, but you're going to have lots of time to commute soon because you're going to be heading to
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, baby. Dice.
Yeah, I'm going to Dice.
New Vegas.
So I'm. Oh, we didn't talk about Fallout. We'll have to talk about it next time because I know Ralph has to go. But Fallout finished. I liked it. I think the season ended very strongly. I do think it dipped in. And Jake, I don't know how you feel about it.
Good cowboy. I like Walton Goggins as the cool ghoul cowboy. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah,
I like
good
Walton
shit.
Goggins as the cool cowboy.
I was surprised how much I liked it. I also like watching it with somebody that knows nothing. Amanda doesn't know anything about Fallout, and it's been interesting watching her enjoy it. The only time her like video game antenna went up was the episode with the Roman Legion. That felt like a side thing. It was like the Roman Legion, a bunch of shit happens, and then it doesn't matter. And then she looks at me, she goes, That's like some video game stuff, right? I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But no, I think that about does it for another episode of Friends for Second. Unless
Stacked
there's anything
episode.
I miss.
Big episode. We haven't actually
Big app.
played Reanimal yet.
Yes.
Because we just got our review codes, or we're getting them. No, we just got them. So looking forward to. We'll cover our impressions of that next episode.
Yes.
But yeah, it was really great to be able to chat to Edmund about Mewgenics. Really interesting guy. And really cool interview, actually. I don't know.
I love the way that he just kind of like careened on in here and we just went with it.
It's cool. We're just talking to someone who's not PR-ified.
Yes.
They're just like a person who just wants to say things because that's what they think, rather than running through this PR filter. No disrespect to the guests that do that, because everyone's got their reasons for doing things, but it's nice to speak to someone like that. It's just really cool and refreshing, and So and I'm sure that Mewgenics will go on to sell a bajillion copies for the next 10 plus years. Pretty blown away that Isaac is selling more copies this year than it has in years prior. That's insane. Good on him. And but no, really good chat.
Oh, it's like eugenics, but with a cat. I just realized that.
Wow.
Can't get nothing past me, man.
That is the perfect place to end the episode.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Wow.
See you next time.
Tie your shoes and go to bed.